initiate chaos theory guarantees that we'll play like lightning shots sounding like thunder. For every time in the face that it hits us, we're faster. Well, they should know by now. They see who all keeps trying to shake us. It only waits us. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings. It's in a beautiful darkness. Only another. It's full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. All above the Betty Express. Misdirected from the start. It's a runaway train. I come a freight train. I come a freight train. In a beautiful darkness, the Betty Express. In a beautiful darkness.
Well, good morning, everyone. I know that the title said the Grace Patrick case, but as of right now, I don't know what is going on in that case. Squid Pro Quo has looked at the docket. She is covering this case as well, and there's nothing new on the docket. Now, Melanie Little is saying that the case was adjourned. But I haven't gotten any more information as to why or what for. So hopefully there will be some reporting. But since we don't have the Sarah Grace Patrick, I figured we would stick with the Devin Mitchell's case. Or Michael's. I think it's Michael's, but if you're new to this case, this is a crazy case. It is out of Nevada. We have a former adult star who was in a relationship with a gentleman, had some children with him, but that relationship didn't work out so well. And she did find love again with her ex-partner's adult son from a former relationship. So that's right. She made her stepson, in theory, her husband, and then her children's stepfather, their half-brother. Now, obviously, this did not make for a happy family environment, but according to the defendant, they were all going to live together in the house to give the girls, their two children, a stable environment. Well, wouldn't you know that her original ex, he ended up decapitated somehow. Basically, this is a wild case, a love triangle not even co-signed by Fleetwood Mac, and a woman who should have probably taken the plea deal instead of going on to trial. But in the Sarah Boone, egocentricness of defendants thinking they can explaineriate the story, we have this woman. So we're back to crazy shenanigans. I actually need to redo a bingo card, so we'll have that for tomorrow if the Sarah Grace Patrick trial doesn't start. So I have to go and redo, because I was trying, y'all, like for once, I was trying to start the first full week of January, like fully beyond like just semi-functional, but like fully on top of things. So I had the Sarah Patrick, bingo card ready. I had all the stuff ready for that. And I was decluttering my toolbar. So it goes to show, never trust a Georgia case. But we're getting back into this one. We are still in the state's case in chief. We are currently getting ready to go into the defense's cross of this particular detective. She's very attractive. Except for the fake eyelashes. She's a very attractive woman. She doesn't need the fake eyelashes, in my opinion.
Defense on behalf of the state, do both parties give their defense of our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Justice, whenever you're ready, cross-examination.
Thank you. Detective Skinner, if we could start with a timeline of 8/7,
Okay.
specifically in reference to Devin.
Yes.
Right? It's your understanding that she was initially interviewed at 12:11, just after noon, on 8/7, correct?
Would that be that first interview with Ozawa and Pappas?
Correct.
I'm not familiar with the timeline. That sounds about right.
And then at 14:29 hours on 8/7, you and Detective Ozawa go to the Porcupine Rim residence.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and if the hilarity couldn't ensue anymore, this woman, this former adult star, lived on a street called Porcupine Rim. You cannot make this stuff up.
And when you arrive, you see Devin getting things out of the Nissan, correct?
Yes,
The Nissan was parked, the Armada was parked in the driveway, correct?
it was.
While you and Detective Ozawa are walking up in the driveway, it's your testimony that this phone at issue is next to the driveway, correct?
Yes,
So, again, if you're new to this case, you are kind of just, parachuting in here. Going against Devin's claims of innocence is the fact that not only were John's keys, wallet, and ID found septuple bagged, so six double bagged in her thong drawer, as you do, but John's cell phone, covered in some reddish brown staining that did eventually test out to be John's blood, was found in Devin's driveway the morning he was found decapitated. Now, Devin claimed that she had been trying to call him forever because her girls, their children together, were supposed to start school. But during her interview with this detective, the girls run up and say, "Oh my gosh, look, we found Daddy's phone." And you can tell look, the audio isn't great, but you could tell her little sphincter was like, "Hi, yikes." Like, that wasn't a good thing. So, yes, if you're gonna crime, hide the evidence. I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're gonna unalive someone, maybe don't take their cell phone with you when they're decapitated, because that's kind of the other part that the defense is going to have to kind of jump over that hurdle. John's phone went with Devin as she left John's, area of residence to her house. Now, John had already been decapitated, so obviously he didn't take the phone. So, yeah, the defense is definitely trying something here.
Next to the Armada.
fairly close.
And then at 15:08 hours, Devin is interviewed at the Porcupine Rim residence by both yourself and Detective Ozawa in the vehicle, correct?
Yes,
And then it's at 15:20, while Devin is being interviewed, the girls bring up the phone, correct?
yes,
So the phone has been out there, at least based upon your seeing it, from at least 14:29 hours, correct?
yes it is.
And it's nearly an hour or so later than the girls bring up the phone. Fair to say?
Yes,
There's discussions concerning this phone, Daddy's phone, something along those lines, correct?
yes,
And the phone is looked into, correct? It's handled.
it was handled, yes.
At this point in time, the airplane mode is not switched on, correct?
Correct,
So if there's notifications on the phone, presumably those notifications now, by operation of looking at the phone, getting into the phone, those are no longer there, correct?
fair to say.
Devin confirms that it's Jonathan's phone,
She does,
and in fact says, here, this should help you, correct?
yes,
And then at 19:19, a search warrant for Porcupine Rim and the vehicles is signed, correct?
yes.
Was there a previous affidavit that had been submitted for the search of the Porcupine residence, or was that the first?
I am not certain on that.
Detective Ozawa would
Yes, sir.
probably be better suited.
Yes,
But we do know that at 7:19 or 19:19, a search warrant for the Porcupine Rim vehicles was signed, correct?
yes,
And then this interview, this last one that we were listening today, began at 19:55.
yes,
And obviously reference then is made to this phone again, correct? The phone that's found.
that's correct.
Through the course of this interview that we heard last week and this week, there's reference made to Jonathan losing his license, correct? Previously.
His wallet, I believe.
Okay. And in fact, you've learned through the course of the investigation, there were texts that confirmed that.
Yes.
So there've been texts between Devin.
Now, what the defense is trying to put into the mind of the jury is there was a history of John being a fairly problematic drinker. I do think he had some DUIs on his record. Now, what the defense is going to claim is that it was kind of standard operating procedure, that when John started to drink after he'd gotten these multiple DUIs, that whoever was kind of the responsible adult would take all of his driving accoutrements, so his keys, his wallet, his ID, so he couldn't drive. But that doesn't make sense because none of this makes sense, but this is how they're trying to cover that. So they're trying to bring in this, he was a heavy drinker. But again, why would she take the keys if he was going to need to come over? Because let's take Devin. Let's invite our other friend. I did name him Calamity Sammy because he's here for when I take a little detour to logic things out. Okay, Calamity Sammy, riddle me this. If Devin's story is, okay, that John and her were going to take their, do all of that first day crap, the first day with the little, chalkboard of like my first day and stuff. If you're going to do all that, why are you taking John's keys over to your house in order to get him to do all the family stuff? You are going to have to wake your behind up, go get John and come back. Why wouldn't you give the keys to Yoko, his mom, who is in the house? I mean, Devin, it's called logic.
And Jonathan, wherein, hey, Jonathan's lost his license. It's found, and there's a discussion in reference to that, correct?
Again, specifically, she mentioned wallet.
Okay. But they were actually both lost at one point in time, were they not? At one time the wallet and another time the license, and they communicate concerning the losing of the wallet and the license and the finding of both in their text
You could make the
messages?
assumption that the license is in the wallet. However, I'm only privy to what she disclosed to us, which was his wallet specifically, and that he
Okay.
had sent a picture to prove that he found it.
But then I told there are pictures to prove, in fact, and corroborates what she had said, that prior to your interview on this date, he lost his wallet and or license and found them, and they texted about it, correct?
Correct.
There had been, through the course of your interview, a reference made to Andrea, Jonathan's previous girlfriend, and the pulling of a knife, something along those lines, correct?
Yes.
There was, in fact, an incident somewhere where that had been discussed previously.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
There had been an incident where, there had been some discussion among the family about Andrea pulling a knife or something along those lines.
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, and for those of you who are like, what? How many more people are in this? These love triangles are insane in this case. So you have Devin and Devier. Now, Devier is Jonathan's son from a previous relationship. But Devin and Jonathan had 2 little girls. So Devin went to Devier, and Jonathan started hanging out with this Andrea chick. Now, according to Devin, because she tells a couple of different stories, John broke up with Andrea because he wanted to get back with Devin, and Devin kind of made it seem like her marriage to his son was for convenience, except they were sort of sleeping together. Yeah, but that is who Andrea is. She was the either fiance or very significant girlfriend of Jonathan. You make a point, Snipe.
In reference to an injury that Devin says that John had told her about, she said that she never saw a bleeding injury, correct?
That's correct.
She had said that Jonathan had told her that he had hurt himself moving, correct?
Correct.
She had made reference to a white table that he was moving, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, that white table that she had discussed with you was in the garage.
It was.
Again, it confirms the movement of this table. It had the big folding sides, correct?
Yes.
It was found in the garage.
Oh,
And she made
thank you, Squid. Sarah Grace Patrick. Okay. Well, it looks like the Sarah Grace Patrick trial has been moved to July 18th, 2026. So I guess it'll be wonderful, of course. You know, the one time I'm actually set up to do a daggone trial, I mean, this is in no way. Thank you so much for the info, Squid. Well, so I guess I will put up a poll probably at the end of today because after we only have 1 or 2 more days of the Devin Michaels trial, and I am a bit tempted to either do a rewatch of the Brad Leon case, or there were a couple cases that were just recently passed. I can do the beauty pageant queen, or we are far enough away from the holidays that if there was a case that I didn't cover because of the holidays and kids stuff, I'll put a couple of different options on what we can do. But we have some old ones like the Brad Leon. Thank you so much. Thank you, Squid, for keeping us in the know. So I will be putting up a poll to see where we go next. If there's a current trial starting, we can do that. We can look at the Holly Bobo stuff, though I will say I will need to do a little diving into that because I've kind of forgotten more about that case than I remember. And then we also have the trial that started it all for me, the Letitia Stout case, that I wanted to maybe go back and relook at because that was a very dense case. And it was the first case I covered streaming. And I kind of want to see what I feel about it now that it's been a while back. So I'll give you guys some options. You guys decide where this crazy train goes.
to the point to say she didn't see any blood. He had just said that he'd injured himself moving that, correct?
Yes.
You'd fair to say, I mean, based upon common experience and knowledge, people can hurt themselves, whether it be a cut, a pinch, something like that, in moving heavy furniture.
Yes, absolutely.
There was a discussion concerning some medical conditions that Devin had, correct?
Yes.
She had talked about this inability to engage in actual intercourse, and you followed up in questions.
I did.
To that, correct?
Yes.
She had said, you can look at my medical records that have these medical conditions, correct?
Yes.
And are you aware that she, in fact, had medical conditions concerning sex and things that addressed such?
No.
Defense attorney, we don't care about her prolapsed uterus. I'm just guessing. I don't know what this woman's problem were, but I'm guessing, if you are a former adult star, maybe you put more than the Kelly Blue Book value miles on your, Honda Odyssey edition. That is why you go in for routine oil checks. But anyone who's been in middle school or watched any of those very cringy abstinence first things will tell you there are other smexy things you can do that are not, full-on smex. Although sitting in a conference room with a bunch of other Christians talking to, or having some middle-aged person talk about like heavy petting, it almost made me asexual for a little bit. I mean, I cured myself 6 children later. Let's get back onto this as I'm tangenting.
Did you take any follow-up steps to substantiate that she, in fact, had seen a doctor for a variety of different reasons?
At the time, it wasn't relevant. Her medical history and the fact of whether she could be intimate with her partner, it was more of things that were being discussed during an interview to clear up the confusion over the relationships. Since that point, we were very unclear on her relationship with individuals in her life. So at that point, her diagnosis, if she had intimacy issues, just wasn't something that was relevant to the investigation.
At that point in time.
Correct.
And obviously, these investigations they're not necessarily static, they're ongoing, correct?
Yes, very much so.
They're dynamic.
Yes.
How many officers did you get to hunt down the status of her hoo-ha? Never did I think I'd see a defense use the hoo-ha defense. Were you aware she was out of commission? She had a headache.
Deviere had been interviewed on 8/7, correct?
Yes.
And again, fair to say that both you and Detective Ozawa were kind of having a difficulty understanding this relationship dynamic between the parties.
Absolutely.
Fair to say that Devin's statements weren't necessarily helpful at times.
You could say that, yes.
Fair to say that Deviere's explanations of things were not necessarily helpful at times.
Correct.
Through the course of your interview with Devin, you talk about rings and that rings are significant.
Yes.
They're a sign of a commitment.
Yes.
She had testified that she wasn't, or she had told you that she wasn't particularly sure what was in the bag, correct?
Yes.
Things were being moved, things were kind of hectic, correct?
That is correct.
Fair to say it's kind of ambiguous concerning when these contents were put in the bag, correct?
Ambiguous is when they were placed in the bag?
Yes.
No, she indicated that that occurred at a specific time or instance at the home before they turned around and went right back to Porcupine.
But we know for a fact that they actually were at the home and they actually went to the other home, to the Paladera.
Yes.
Defense, way to point out my client is a lying liar who lies. I mean, it's an interesting defense. I'm here for it.
And a lot going on, correct?
Yes.
Devin had been subjected to multiple interviews on 8/7.
Yes.
There was discussions concerning keys, both the key or keys to the subject truck as well as Andrea's keys, correct?
Yes.
And she had told you that she had handled or was aware of the keys in both instances, correct?
Yes, she indicated one had Andrea's name on it and the other one was a set of truck keys that were next to some smoking paraphernalia.
You were able to corroborate that Jonathan was a smoker
Correct.
of both tobacco as well as marijuana.
Yes, I believe the lab confirmed that as well.
Yes.
Not the devil's lettuce. Whatever will we do?
When you were at the Paladera residence, obviously there was evidence of smoking both inside and outside the house, correct?
Yes.
As well as alcohol bottles, things of that nature.
Yes.
You
I
had
love how
testified
she's-
that the interview
I love how she's slow blinking at him like a cat. I wonder if she's trying to hypnotize him.
techniques initially concerning Devin, I think you said were more like free form?
Correct.
That nature?
Yes.
But then they became, through the course of the day, more accusatory.
Yes.
You testified that you engaged in another form of interview technique, correct?
Correct.
A more confrontational technique.
Yes.
And that was employed by both you as well as Detective Ozawa.
Yes.
The read technique is generally used by your police department.
I wouldn't say that it's used by our department. A lot of people are trained in the read technique. However, most of us that have been detectives for, several years, we develop our own technique. We'll take a little bit of something that we've learned in a class that works for us, and then there's other times that we'll be taking online courses or through.
And this is the way, so from a defense perspective, and I definitely encourage you to go look at Andrea Burkhart or Defense Diaries, because they do talk about some of the kind of risks for coercing people into not so honest confessions or railroading that happens in the read technique. But this is how officers get away from that. You use the read technique. No, I cobbled together my own specific technique yesterday. Now, I'm no expertologist, but I'm guessing everything that they use is going to be have a nexus or a start from the read technique. So it's not like they invent their own special way, but this is how they get around sort of the controversies over the read technique. The read technique, I believe, is only used in America. It's a fairly confrontational method of interview. Now, I do believe that UK police officers use the peace method, which is somewhat like the read, only less confrontational. And again, this is all that I can remember just off the top of my head.
Just our course of our experience will adapt our techniques to our own strengths.
So, however, it's fair to say that you have been trained and implement the read technique.
I have been trained in read, but I don't believe that I'm still implementing that.
Same question, if, to your knowledge, Detective Ozawa, the read technique is generally the beginning, the basis of interview techniques.
I would say it's a basis generally, but I don't know that Detective Ozawa has taken that course.
Okay. Early on, and this is now before your interview with Devin, you were engaged in an interview with Yoko at the Polidoro residence, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
That interview began at 10:43 a.m.
Yes.
and concluded at 11:28 a.m., correct?
Yes.
45 minutes.
Very fast.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
You were there to try and gain information to help you in your investigation, correct?
Yes.
She cooperated.
She did.
You didn't have the use of an interpreter, but it was clear that you both understood each other.
Yes.
At times were discussed concerning that night in question.
Yes.
On 3 different occasions, it was discussed a noise that disturbed her at 3 a.m., correct?
I don't recall a noise being discussed.
Dogs barking.
Okay, dogs barking, yes.
On 3 different instances during that interview, there's a discussion of dogs at 3 a.m., correct?
Okay. I would have no reason not to believe you.
And if I showed you the interview transcript,
Now, that is significant because John did own several dogs, but it was his normal practice that they would not be left outside at nighttime. I know that we're encouraged not to leave animals outside because we have a pretty big coyote, and we live like right adjacent to a forest, so we have a lot of critters. And I do remember when we moved in being told, hey, you can't leave your critters outside because we have a lot of coyotes. But that's kind of what woke Yoko up, because she heard the dogs barking, and since John generally kept them inside, that was abnormal, and that's what made her remember it.
you'd have no reason to disagree.
I would not disagree if I could read them.
So 3 times dogs at 3 a.m., correct?
Sure, yes.
Okay, I'm not tricking you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
telling you. At no time was there any discussion of a bang or anything like that at 2 a.m., correct?
Not that I recall.
Because that's something that you would have taken note of, because it would have been...
It would have been significant.
I can have the court's indulgence.
Now, again, if you just kind of parachuted into this, the reason the defense is making a big deal about this bang, Yoko, prior to this, had been interviewed by the police and the grand jury. However, it wasn't until she was testifying for the trial that she said that she had heard a loud thunk sound sometime in the evening. Now, the defense said, hey, the defense did try to impeach her, said, you haven't said anything about this thunk. Obviously, either the jury believed all of the evidence that the state brought in, or at least believed more of what Yoko said than what the defense was trying to push, because she was found guilty. But I basically wanted to give you a backstory as to why he's making a big deal about this thunk sound. And I do find it very odd that, again, Yoko says nothing about this until the day on the stand. But I also feel so much compassion for Yoko because she was a mother who was the one that found her son. So I'm guessing the jury probably gave her a lot of grace.
Just one moment. Follow-up question concerning the phone. We had discussed the phone being gotten into and not, put on airplane mode, which would have wiped the notifications, correct?
Correct.
Yoko had discussed calling Jonathan multiple times that morning, correct?
Yes.
Outside of it failing to have been put on airplane mode, was the phone ever taken off the network that you're aware of?
That's not something I would be aware of personally.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Yes, very briefly. Detective, with regard to the line of questioning related to the notifications on the phone, you would, I presume, defer to experts on airplane mode and that type of thing, correct?
That's correct.
The fact that there were no notifications on home screen when you first saw the phone, was that important for you for any purpose?
Absolutely. There were statements made by Devin that she had contacted or tried to contact Jonathan several times. So in my personal experience, I would believe that there would be notifications unless that phone had been interacted with prior to picking it up and bringing it over to the car.
Okay, and there will be an expert that talks about the contents of the phone. That's not for you.
Not
to
my
talk
forte.
about. But let's presume for a second that she did in fact text or call John after his death. Would this be something that you've seen before in cases where people try to alibi themselves or cover up?
Yes, frequently people will call someone they clearly know is deceased. They will go to their work and pretend and put on an act per se.
Okay.
So there are times that does happen.
So, not for you to say.
We see you, Chandler Halderson, the king of the, I called my mom and she texted me from inside the home.
But
No.
It's not surprising to see someone call someone post-murder to essentially alibi and or cover up.
Correct.
I'll pass it.
Some follow-up. You've had investigations where someone leaves a cell phone at home and then goes and commits a serious crime, correct?
Yes.
Again, to perhaps establish an alibi concerning their whereabouts.
Yes.
Your client
In
didn't.
reference to the phone, Jonathan's phone, there was communication, specifically a text sent by Devin to Jonathan about 3:56 a.m., correct?
I'd have to defer to the records, but I have no reason to believe that that didn't happen.
And that concerned the girls in registration that was to occur the morning of the 7th, correct?
Yes.
Additionally, we had heard testimony last week concerning a landline at the Paladura residence. There was in fact a landline. at
Yes,
that
there was.
residence. And on the night in question, late 8/6 into 8/7, there were multiple phone calls from the landline at Porcupine to Devin's phone, correct?
It's my understanding that there were, yes.
Previous night, that would be the night of August 5th, there were multiple phone calls from the Porcupine residence, that's where Deviere and the girls, to Devin's phone, correct?
I believe so. Again, I'd have to defer to the records to be certain.
Fair. Thank you. No further
Thank
questions.
you.
Any follow-up?
No, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the jury have any questions for this witness? Sir, you can write your question on a full sheet of paper with your name and your jury number, and counsel can first.
Oh, this is the first time the jury's had a question. This is interesting. Now, Nevada is one of the localities that allows the jury to ask a question. So what'll happen here is that the state and the defense and the judge will all look at the question, see if it's something that the jury is allowed to ask, and once they, figure that out, if it's something that's allowable, the judge will read the question off. The witness will answer it, and then the state and defense can ask questions
In the garage for
regarding.
blood, the tape on Devin. I personally.
Okay, I was yapping, so let's hear the question.
Did you check the white table in the garage for blood, the tape on Devin?
I personally did not check the table, however, our CSAs, our crime scene analysts, as well as our detectives did, and they photographed the garages on the wall as well.
Okay, what did they find?
There was no blood on the table.
Okay? State and fellow based on the jury.
No, thank you.
Defense?
Just very briefly, and it involves actually the phone. The girls were handling the phone prior to being given to you,
I
correct?
did not see the girls. I would assume that they were had handle it. They had to pick it up and.
Yes, Jen, it has been moved to July 18th of this year. No real update as to why. So what I will be doing, if you just kind of came in here, I will be putting a poll up for some trials that we did in the past, or trials that maybe were recently or upcoming that you guys want to look at once we're done with this particular trial. I'm just a little bit irritated because y'all, I slept the sleep of like the non-procrastinator, like the procrastinator that had done not procrastinated. And I was so proud of myself. Like I went to bed like I am on fire. And of course, as soon as I like have everything planned, have a bingo card ready, like a strategy, it's like, no more. But life with 6 kids teaches you to roll with the changes, so we can always figure out something else to look at. So I will give you guys, I will probably put the poll up on the community page tonight of a couple different trials that we can look at. There's some oldie but goodies and, other things, so we will figure out a way to have fun. We don't need big trials, smig trials. We will watch all the trials.
Bring it over to us. Now, whether they manipulated it, I couldn't tell you.
Swiped up, anything like that, you
Could
can't
not
say.
tell you. They appear to have just walked over from where the phone was and up to their mom's side of the car.
But just so we're clear, though, that phone was out in the driveway for some time, correct?
It was, yes.
In fact, through the course of Deviere's interview, he had made reference to that phone, correct?
I wasn't in that interview, so I couldn't speak to that.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any follow-up on that, Stacy?
No, thank you.
Do ladies and gentlemen of the jury have any further questions for this witness? Okay, seeing no response, name no excuse, thank you very much for your testimony here today. State and call your approval.
State's next witness is Jared Spangler.
Do you need me to do anything with the exhibit?
Thank you.
Are you doing that?
Okay, since, it's very rare that a man can pull off the bald look, but this man does it. Now, in Mr. Moe's defense, I made him shave his head once because I thought he'd look really sexy bald. But it turns out it was my crazy hormones being pregnant the 5th time. Mr. Moe looked like he was part of like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's got a divvy head. He looks very nice with hair. I thought, look, we have 6 children, so obviously I still found him sexy. But, every time he sees pictures from then, he's like, I cannot believe you talked me into that. And I'm like, I can't believe you listened to me. It seems like your first problem was listening to me.
Step on up the personal swear you.
Morning.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Nancy.
It said Sheridan if he became an accountant.
My full name is Jared Spangler. It's Jared. Spangler is Spangler.
State where you're ready.
Sir, how are you employed?
This poor man, do you understand the mental and emotional damage I would have done if someone had the last name Spangler in my middle school? This man has seen some things. This man had a difficult time in middle school with Spangler.
I am a detective with the Henderson Police Department.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
I have been a detective for 15 years, and I've been with the Henderson Police Department for 22 years.
What unit are you assigned to as a detective?
I currently work in the Digital Forensic Lab.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury a little bit about that unit?
Yeah.
No.
The Digital Forensic Lab
No, we are not doing this.
analyzes self...
let's go through the blah blah blah. What is digital evidence? What is forensics? Oh, this is the infotainment system. Damn it. Buckle in. We've got infotainment to be seeing too.
Know if someone's opened the door, if it's been altered, because the seal would be broken.
And that's the ceiling we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
correct? 447, just a close-up there with the seal, correct?
Correct.
Then 448, obviously you go inside the vehicle, is that right?
Yes.
And is this just a photo of inside the vehicle, the front side of the vehicle?
Yes, driver's side.
449, what do we see here?
The gear shifter and the middle console.
450, another angle of that area
Yes,
taken from the passenger side.
that is correct.
I'm kind of embarrassed
451,
her
are you
car's
aware of
nicer
this
than
being
mine.
located inside the vehicle?
I didn't personally see it.
Okay. But no reason to dispute that it would have been
Correct.
found in the vehicle.
Yes.
452, are we getting to the back of the vehicle now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and this would be on the driver's side, correct?
Correct.
453, same back of the vehicle, but now from the passenger side.
Yes.
454, is this just under the hood of the vehicle,
Yes, it is.
the engine area?
Yes.
455, would this be the rear trunk of the vehicle?
Yes, that is correct.
And this was a hatchback, so the back would actually lift in the air, is that right?
Yes.
456, more of the trunk of the vehicle.
Correct.
What is being lifted up at that point?
I'm not sure. It seems to be some type of covering for the back there.
But it was,
Why do you have headphones in there? I mean, I'm guessing that's where the tire jack goes. Like if you actually have, or the emergency, or that's where you get your spare tire from. I mean, I'm not a carologist, but I'm pretty sure that's not where you hide your headphones and a screwdriver. But, you know, like I said, not a carologist. Maybe that is the hidey hole, you know, in the Nissan Altima or whatever it was, Maxima.
searched, it looks like.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
457, more of the vehicle.
Yes.
458, what do we see here happening?
So the vehicle infotainment system is behind the screen of what you would see inside the vehicle. So you can see the screen up above, but right beneath it is where there's a hard drive. And so in order to extract the data from the infotainment system, I have to get that hard drive out of the vehicle. So I had to disassemble some of the components so that I could access the hard drive.
And there's actually a mouse in front of you if you want to hover over that area you were just talking about.
Click any buttons.
Yes, don't click, just hover, please.
I love this judge. Like,
Please
don't
hover,
click.
sir, in that area you were speaking about.
So you can see that there's these little wires right here, the little connection points that I had to disconnect. The logic board where the hard drive is attached to. There's one right there, and there's a few down here. But in order to access this, you have to take the whole front face piece off of it.
And do we see that in that photo, that front face piece?
Yeah.
Can you please hover over that?
Right up above, up here. That's where like the volume for the stereo is, to change the channel, and things of those nature. So all that had to come out. So I lifted it and put it up there.
And this is a typical procedure of what you would do when trying to collect data from a infotainment system, correct?
That is correct.
And showing you 459, what do we see here?
These are, so once the logic board is taken out, I had to take specific pieces of that apart so I could access the hard drive. So what you're seeing here, there's one there's a second one here, and a third one. These are just cover pieces on the board itself to protect the hard drive so that if there's any, I don't know, maybe liquid or anything like that, it's protected. So I had to remove these pieces off of the hard drive itself and the logic board so I could access the hard drive.
I just love that it's called a logic board. I need a logic board. Instead of like a magic 8 ball, if you could make a board where it's just like shake, 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 think, shake, 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 use your brain, not your emotions. I need a logic board. Although that would probably degenerate into a logic 2x4, and then I would help assist people with finding logic with application to their fate. This could turn into a felony. We don't need a logic board.
Showing you 460, we see an extra piece there. What is that?
So this here is it's just a secondary logic board that's connected to the first one, and I believe over here, if you, kind of to the side, but pretty sure the hard drive was connected to this logic board over here. So it's just more pieces that need to be removed in order to access the hard drive.
And these tools that we see sort of above that area, I'm pointing there for you. It looks like some screwdrivers and different tools. That would be a part of your kit. Is that right?
That is correct.
Not something found in the vehicle.
No, not at all.
461. What do we see here?
More of the same pieces that were attached to the logic board themselves, and the tools are above there.
Now, these green objects, those are the logic boards that you're referring to?
Correct.
Okay. 462. Just more components to it.
That is correct. Coverings for the hard drive itself, yes.
463. What do we see there?
Some more of the tool sets. Right here is the back piece. You can see that there's a little vent because it has to keep cool, so it has to have air coming in and out. And then obviously all the screws that piece everything together to the main housing, and then just additional tools to perform the extraction of the hard drive.
So now that you've
You know that thing is never going back together again. I mean, at least if it were me taking it apart, look, 10 of the screws would already be missing before I took the picture. I hope they were able to piece it back together, but I just sat there and looked at it like, yeah, that's never going back together again.
taken apart the infotainment system, what do you do after that point?
So once the hard drive has been removed from the logic board, I bring the hard drive back to the digital forensic lab, which is in the same building. I take it up to the digital forensic lab, and I connect the hard drive to a forensic computer. We have to use forensically sound methods, which means we have to prevent anything being written to the hard drive. So we use a write blocker, which only allows us to see the contents on the hard drive. So I can see the contents, but I'm not able to alter those. That way we preserve the evidence. So at that point, we create a digital forensic fingerprint, we'll call it. It's a hash value, but it's a fingerprint of the data on the hard drive. So when I extract the data and I put it on my forensic computer, I can then create another fingerprint and compare the two to what it was before and what it was afterwards to make sure they match. So I extracted the information, put it on the forensic computer, then I open up the Burla software that I mentioned earlier, which allows us to process and analyze the specific data on that hard drive.
So specifically, what type of data is being imported into this Burla software?
So the hard drive contents itself, there's databases. That's usually what infotainment systems have, are databases. Kind of think like an Excel spreadsheet. It's a database with input, data on there. And from there, it has to be analyzed. It has
No, what kind of data, i.e. left turn, right turn, location, your favorite song that you like to blast Stevie Nicks while going through town? What is the infotainment? What is the data that it's capturing? We get that it's capturing data, and we get that it goes in a spreadsheet. What we don't understand is what that data is.
to be sorted through to figure out what specifically is it saying. What is the data?
So it may be an oversimplification, but it's essentially Burla acts as sort of a reader of the data. Is that right?
Yes.
And then puts it in a reader-friendly format so that you can actually see what this data is saying.
That is correct.
And it's not altering the data at any point when you're importing it from the drive into the Burla system, correct?
Correct.
So after you do that, the raw data is now inside the Burla system. what does the system do? Or what does the software do at that point?
It allows the user to be able to analyze it. So it, specifically for infotainments, this infotainment system, it recorded GPS location.
Finally.
And that GPS location is organized in trips. So when you start the vehicle, as soon as you put the key in and it turns it on to the accessories or on to the on position, it begins
All right.
recording GPS, and it records that as a trip. So we'll just say that's going to be
Can we get through the explaineration? Sir, I have flashbacks from the Karen Reed trial, so we are just getting to the damn data that you found.
All right, I'm gonna pause that. What do we see here in video number 1?
So this is the Burla software that I was explaining earlier. These videos I created, I just used a Windows capture program so you could see what I see as an examiner. So this is the Burla software. The trips that were of importance, I made videos for those trips. So this is one of the trips. If you look, I'm not going to click, but I'm going to hover my mouse over here. You can see this is the timestamp of when this trip, we're looking at trips, when this trip began on 8/6 of 2023 at 5:19 p.m. That's adjusted for UTC, for our time. It's not UTC. Everything is recorded in UTC. So we have to subtract the 7 hours. And then the trip ends on the same date at 5:58 and 33 seconds p.m. So one thing you'll notice if you look over here, you can see the count is 2,368. That's how many waypoints. Every second the GPS is recording, that's how many waypoints or GPS points are recorded in this trip. So you can see the distance was 25 miles, the elapsed time, the average speed, those things that that the GPS system will actually record. So what I did was, when we hit play, you'll be able to see, I'm going to animate this trip so you can follow where it goes.
And just briefly, because I don't think we've talked about this yet, can you explain what UTC time is?
Yes, so it's Greenwich time. It's the time over in England, and we are every hour that it's spread out by distance. And where we are at right now, we are, well, I think we're 8 now, but we were -7 at the time. So it's either -7 or -8. So everything is recorded in UTC time. It's the same way with computers and cell phones, vehicle infotainments. Everything is recorded in UTC time, and then this system and us, we have to manually adjust according to time, daylight savings or not.
Sorry, you were hearing cat sneezes.
And so the times we're seeing here are not UTC, they're the correct times.
They're
correct?
adjusted, yeah, and it even
Yeah, I'm working on that. Thank you.
it said
No,
it
but
on
thank
there.
you.
I adjusted it so we wouldn't have to do any math in our head or anything. It's just automatically.
Thank you, sir. We
Adjust it.
appreciate you knowing that we hate math. No, who does that with water? No, what in the hell was that? We do not treat water like it's mouthwash. Ooh. Don't know why I'm so horrified by that, but that just grossed me out.
Okay, I think we saw you click and press
Oh.
play on this video. And then I think we saw you click animate tracking. That's that process you were explaining previously, right?
Yes.
What else do we use?
So you're looking at the overview at this second. I'm zooming in so that as I hit play, you can follow it along.
Okay.
So this is where the trip starts. And you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, again, I'm not going to click, but you can see down here the date and the time when the trip started.
And what is that, just for the record?
That is 8/6 of 2023 at 5:19 and 12 seconds p.m.
Okay, and that's just where we're stopped right now, correct?
Correct, yes.
And we're able to determine that that dot right there is the 2698 Paladura Drive in Henderson, correct?
That is correct.
And then I'll go ahead and play for more.
Fair point.
And what I notice right now is it's going fairly quickly. It looks like, I'll stop here.
Yeah,
The
if you just
bottom
pause it.
right, there's something that says 5 times. What does that mean?
Yeah, over here next to the mouse 5x. I didn't want to have a 45-minute video for a 45-minute trip, so I times it by 5 so it'd be a little bit quicker so that I could condense it a little bit. That's the only reason I made it 5 times, so we wouldn't be here all day watching videos.
And we appreciate that.
Yes,
Playing the video.
because this is boring.
So at this point, you can see there's just a little bit of movement. It means the vehicle's on. It hasn't moved yet. There's a little bit of movement. It doesn't necessarily move that the vehicle. It doesn't mean that the vehicle has moved. It just means that it's on and it's recording GPS location. Kind of bounce it around a little bit
Kinda
right
looks
in
like
front of
an
the
eye.
residence.
An angry eye.
And you can see down here the seconds are moving rather quickly, but you can see the seconds there. Roughly 20, 25, and so on.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here.
Please, God. Okay, we're watching this at 5. Okay,
Okay.
good. Oh, we're going. We're moving. Okay.
At about, I think it was around 5:32, we then see the vehicle begin to move. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll press play.
They live in Nevada. Now, it is August. I mean, okay, maybe she was turning the AC on, but you're going to let your car run for almost 15 minutes by itself? Okay. I mean, guess some people are richer than me because I would not be leaving my car running that long.
And it appears it's going down Windmill Parkway at this point outside of the neighborhood.
Yes.
And ultimately, this trip, as I scroll across, is just the vehicle is traveling across the valley, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And then ultimately, the vehicle comes to a stop, is that right?
Yes.
And that stop happens at 5510 Porcupine Rim Street, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Again,
And
I
that's
will
essentially the
continue
end
to
of this
ask who
trip.
made Porcupine
Yes.
Rim a street name.
Then
when
we
you said-
have another trip, and that's labeled as
You know, when he said video, I thought we were going to get something interesting and animated. This is actually worse. It was a like interest tease, because at least when I know an expert brings a PowerPoint, I know I'm going to be bored. He brought a video and I'm thinking, oh, this is nice. Monday morning, getting back from everything. My ADHD needs videos. I would rather watch Judson Welsher get, painted up and do more tests.
video number 2, correct?
Yes.
Publishing.
You might have to use VLC.
And again, you're clicking animate tracking, correct? Or
Yes.
track log, excuse me. And where is the start of this trip?
At the Porcupine address?
The 5510 Porcupine Rim?
Correct. Yes.
And what date and what time?
You can see the date down here. It is 8/6 of 2023 at 7:37 p.m.
Pressing play. And again, vehicle begins to travel, correct?
Yes.
I'm just quickly scrolling through. Again, this is at 5 times that you have it set at, correct?
That is
Or
correct.
5x.
Come on, we can make it. No whammies, no whammies.
Ultimately, vehicle ending its trip at that same 2698 Paladura Drive, correct?
Yes,
In
correct.
Henderson?
Yes.
Okay, and roughly at about 8:06 p.m. on that same date, August 6, 2023, is when the vehicle comes to a stop on that trip, correct?
Correct.
And that's the end of that one.
Yes.
Okay. Opening file video number 3. Again, clicking animate track log.
So if I could just push pause just real quick. So this actually has 2 trips, and I'll explain real quick. So this first trip is very, very short. It's a span of 10 seconds. You can see the date here at 8/6/2023 at 11:05 and 46 seconds. The vehicle's either turned on or someone put the key into the accessory so you can listen to the radio. One of those two options the vehicle was in an on state, and for 10 seconds, this first trip here, I think we're calling it trip number 3. This trip number 3, the vehicle doesn't move, but the GPS is on and it's recording, and you're going to see that there's some movement there. Just because that's how GPS works, sometimes it can be off anywhere from 5 to 30 feet, roughly.
And it is possible that the vehicle may have moved slightly, but it's hard to tell from this, correct?
Correct.
And then I'll go ahead and press play. Okay, what are we seeing here?
And yeah, that was the 10 seconds. So I don't stop recording at this point. I now go to the next one, which is a few hours later.
And I'm just going to pause. Around what time did that trip start?
So this is a few hours later on the 7th at 2:04 a.m.
August 7th, 2023 at 2:04 a.m., correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And again, at the 2698 Paladura Drive address.
Correct.
Now we should be able to
And the vehicle is now moving, correct?
see her go
Yes.
to CBS.
Going down Windmill.
Yep.
Doobie doobie doo. Doo 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 doo.
I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead a little bit.
Yes, please. Doobie doobie doo. Where is she going? Late night post-cap. Attention driving. Where in the world is this insane woman going?
And I'm going to pause here. It looks like at about 2:28 in the morning, same date, August 7th, 2023, it looks like the vehicle is sort of hovering in this one location for a bit. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And we determined that that was CBS located at Cheyenne and Durango with the address of 8320 West Cheyenne Ave, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Pressing play.
And have a great lunch, Wolfram. Thank you for being our Modly Mod and keeping us all sort of, on task. Now, here's the other thing that I find really wonky about this. Now, the defense is trying to portray Devin as this woman who is trying to get her family together. She realizes it's an odd family dynamic, but she's trying to be the best. She's trying to get the family together to be the best mom for her daughters. Well, I can tell you as a mom, my behind wouldn't be out at 2:28 a.m. to go to the pharmacy on the day before my kids had to start school. I mean, because it's going to be hella hard to get up. It's not going to work. So I have some questions.
The vehicle is now moving, is that right?
Yes.
At about 2:31 in the morning,
Yes.
same date?
Yes, on the August 7th.
I'll go ahead and skip ahead. The vehicle is making its way across the valley, correct?
Yes.
Ultimately landing at that 5510 Porcupine Rim address, correct?
Correct.
And the time being 2:44 in the morning or so
Yes. that
on
is correct.
August 7th, 2023.
Yes.
playing video number 3 with the annotation zoomed in at the end. And this is that same trip, correct?
Yes, I labeled it as zoomed in. I wasn't sure what was going on. You can see that there's a lot of movement down there.
Yeah, what in the
And
hell?
after further investigation, it seems like
Okay, I'll stop you there. So at 2:44 in the morning, this is that Porcupine Rim sort of stop, but it appears that there is some movement within the neighborhood, correct?
correct. Yes.
Showing you video number 4. This is a new trip, correct?
Yes. This is at 8:01 a.m. on August 7th, 2023.
And the starting address is that 5510 Porcupine Rim address, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And I'll go ahead and skip ahead. Oh. It appears that the vehicle exits the neighborhood on Ann Road and then makes what looks like a U-turn back into
Whoever wanted a peen, I believe we have a very, well, I mean, that's mutated, but there you go. That's the peen-like pattern that she, I mean, it looks like me as an inside cat getting all the way through my neighborhood only to realize I don't need anything enough to go to Walmart.
the neighborhood,
Yes, that's correct.
back to that 5510 Porcupine Rim address, correct?
Yes,
And this is at 8:06 a.m.
that is correct. The vehicle's left on at this point.
The vehicle begins moving again roughly at 8:10
Yes.
in the morning. Go ahead and skip ahead. And I'm going to stop it right here at 8:16 in the morning. We see the vehicle and it is stopped at what appears to be a Funny's gas station and car wash, correct?
That is correct.
And that's located at the intersection of Lone Mountain and Rancho there, specifically 4747 North Rancho Drive, correct?
Yes, that is right.
Pressing play.
At this point, the vehicle is still on. As soon as it turns off, the trip ends. So it's still on for these remaining minutes.
There appears to be some slight movement there around 8:18 in the morning, correct?
Correct.
Still some slight movement there,
Yes.
inching along. And that trip then ends, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Publishing video number 5. What time does this trip start?
This is on August 7th, 2023 at 8:21 a.m.
And this, again, we're starting at that Funny's car wash
Correct.
gas station. Looks like vehicle begins to move around 8:21 or so.
Yes.
Sort of those slight movements we saw earlier. And now the vehicle is moving out of that area, correct?
Correct.
Vehicle then
Upside down
proceeds
S.
through the valley.
And
It
this is where
stopped
the vehicle
here.
parks.
Vehicle parks. Does it appear to have parked at a children's school, so at the Torrey Pines, Washburn sort of intersection there?
Yes,
that we
there's the
see?
elementary school there.
Okay, and that would be Ernest May Elementary School, correct?
Yes,
And the trip ultimately ends at that elementary school.
correct.
Video number 6, picking up from there. And around, it appears 9:27 in the morning is when this trip starts, still on August 7th, 2023. And again, we are starting at that Ernest May Elementary School, correct?
That is correct.
And that trip ends
Yeah, it would help if you had like Google View because it looks like she's just stopping in the middle of the road for no reason. So, Jen, I believe that the data points and her going to the school isn't important, but when she was coming home at the 2:44 a.m. and did that kind of wiggly squiggly around the neighborhood, that was when she was returning home after the body was decapitated. And I think the interesting point there is the next witness is probably going to bring up the phone, John's phone. And John's phone left Yoko's house at the same time and drove with this. Alice G., this is not a new case. This is actually an older trial. Devin Michaels is on trial for decapitating her ex-boyfriend, John Willett. She and John were together years ago, had 2 children that were either in elementary school or just getting ready to go into middle school. But at the time, I think they were both in elementary school. She and John broke up. She decided to get with Deviere, who was John's adult son from a previous relationship. Obviously, that caused a lot of tension. But according to Devin, they were all trying to, get together to give the kids a stable home. So John was going to move in with Deviere and Devin. But on the night he was supposed to move in, he died and was decapitated. Now, Devin had confessed to this during the investigation and had accepted a plea deal, but recanted that and went to trial. She was adjudicated guilty. We are kind of watching this, older case, but that's basically where we are. She basically left all the evidence. We have the infotainment, the, famous vehicle narc that is showing her, leaving the house at 2 a.m., running around her neighborhood and all of that. So I think this is why they are going so deeply into this, to show that where she went and what she was doing, because there have been a couple trips where she just kind of went a couple miles, did a U-turn and turned back. But as of researching this case last week, they have never found the head or the object that she used to remove the head.
Vehicle goes back to that 5510 Porcupine Rim address, correct?
That's correct.
And ultimately ends there, correct?
That is correct. At 9:30 a.m.
Publishing video number 7. Trip starts at that 5510 Porcupine Rim, correct, at 9:35 a.m.
Yes, on
August-
August 7th, 2023.
Go ahead and skip through. Traveling across the valley. Looks like it's on Summerlin Parkway. Ultimately, trip is concluding at 9:57 a.m.
That is correct.
And that appears to be Summerlin Hospital, 657 North Town Center Drive, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Publishing video number 8.
I do not know why we're going this far into her day, but I guess they had to pay for the animations, such as they are.
It appears to begin at that Summerlin Hospital address, correct?
Yes.
At 10:09 a.m.
Yes,
on August 7th, 2023.
that is right.
Eventually ending at that 5510 Porcupine Rim address, correct?
Correct.
And that was at 10:20.
Now it's interesting that she stopped at the hospital because, so from where the last trip was, and all these trips are basically where she's turning off the car. She was in the hospital parking lot starting at 9:57 a.m. and then she left the hospital parking lot at 10:09 a.m. Did the hospitals have trash bins or anything like that? Because it doesn't seem like she stayed long enough to do much more than kind of troll the parking lots. Jen thinks like I do. We're like, she's going for the sharp spins.
6 a.m. on August 7th, 2023.
Correct.
It'd be rather brazen, though. I mean, it's 10 a.m. when you're doing this. I mean, this is a hospital. It'd have to look really not sus, like you are throwing away old McDonald's stuff. And even then, if your kids throw away trash as you're entering, you get looks. So, ballsy.
Publishing video number 9. The next trip. Starting out at the defendant's home, 5510 Porcupine Rim Street, at 11:33 in the morning, same date.
That's
Correct.
correct. Yes.
Ultimately, the vehicle traveling across town to scrolled a little too fast there. It appears the 2698 Paladura Drive address gets there around 12:07 in the afternoon,
Yes, that's correct.
and the car stays on at this point, it looks like.
Yes. Yes.
Scrolling forward a bit. And the trip ends there at 12:43 p.m.
The Paladura address is actually the address where John's body was found, and where he was living. Thank you. I forgot. So it is interesting that she went to all these different places and then ends up back at, the scene of the crime and leaves her car running for 30 minutes. Again, this woman must never have to worry about gas.
Correct?
Correct.
Publishing video number 10. Next trip. Starting out at that 2698 Paladura Drive, correct?
Yes.
12:51 p.m. or so.
Correct.
Scroll through. Trip ends at about 12:54 p.m. and it appears that it ends at a Taco Bell at the corner of Windmill and Pecos, correct?
Correct. It's like a parking lot right there.
Taco Bell?
Finally,
Taco
video number
Bell?
11. Publishing. It's the next trip. And it originates from that Taco Bell at 1:31 p.m. on the same date. Ultimately, once we scroll through,
Where is this woman going?
ending at that 5510 Porcupine Rim address, correct?
Correct.
And it ends at 2:01 p.m. on August 7th, 2023.
Correct.
And between all these videos, these were, this was the date and time frame that Detective Ozawa was most interested in based on the investigation in the case, correct?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh God, this man is going to be stupid. Oh, holy crap, we get to hear Schitt's Creek talk?
Detective Spangler, now, when the car comes in, you're the one that actually physically goes in and pulls out the unit, correct?
Inside the vehicle?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct.
So it's sealed at the scene, and it's not open until you open the door, correct?
I didn't open the doors. The crime scene analysts, since they're the ones taking the pictures, they physically open the doors.
Were you present for that?
When they opened them?
Yep.
No.
Okay. In your time in spent in the car pulling out this unit, you kind of observe the general condition of the car when you're pulling out the unit, right?
Yes.
I'm putting up what's State's Exhibit 458. And then how do I switch over to this?
But is it plugged in now that you took it out of your computer?
Yeah, we plug it back.
Oh, no, make yourself at home. Yes, I still have the heater on. This is Loki.
And right here is where you take the unit out, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct.
And you see this, console with brushes and various items of Miss Michaels, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to put up with State's Exhibit 448. This is a different view from the car, correct?
Yes, the driver's side.
And you would go into the driver's side to get that unit, so you would probably sit in the driver's seat and pull that out.
I believe I accessed both sides,
Both
at
sides,
some
okay.
point
So
throughout.
you're aware of the, the condition of the car and kind of what's in there,
In the front, yes.
right?
Where are we going with this?
It's kind of a
sweetheart?
messy car from your view of this, correct?
I mean, actually, if anyone has kids, that's an immaculate car. Now, I will tell you point blank, period, that when I got my new to me car, I intended to keep it clean. And then Mr. Mo has taken it over with the wild, feral young people, and I just make them clean it out once a week. But, I mean, if that's dirty, don't even look at my car, y'all, because it needs an episode of Hoarders and Jesus.
I have teenagers, so my idea of messy might be a little different.
Well, it doesn't look like it would just, it's not wiped down. I mean, look, she's got brushes, there's things in the car, it's dirty, we have dirt on the floor, so it doesn't look like it just went and got detailed.
How to realize that the lawyer has OCD and is very neat. He's like, look, it's a disgusting mess. And I'm over here like, I wish I were that functional.
Correct.
Now, when you're accessing this unit and as you're pulling it out and looking at the console, and like you said, you accessed both sides of the car from the driver's side and potentially the passenger side,
Yes.
you didn't observe any blood in the car, did you?
I don't recall any blood.
Nothing on the steering wheel?
I don't recall touching the steering wheel, so I don't know, but I from my memory, I don't recall any blood on the steering wheel.
But you're in the middle looking at the console where someone would be touching, obviously they put the car in gear, they've got the shift knob, so they would have to touch that. You didn't see any blood on that.
I didn't.
I'm going to put up what states exhibit 451. This is just an ID that was found in there. Like I believe you said that you didn't see this, but this was something that would have been in the car with Ms. Michael's personal belongings, correct?
Yes, I personally didn't see this, so I don't know where it was, but the crime scene analyst must have taken it, so yeah.
Now, going back to the videos that the state put up, there was a end of video 3. There was like some squiggly lines kind of going. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you previously testified that when the car is there, it can give or take 30, 50 feet. In that clip, it looked like it was zoomed in on.
5 to 33 feet.
5 to 33 feet.
Correct.
Okay. And then, are you aware of the Funny's gas station, or you just know the location?
I'm not aware of it. I just look at the map.
So it's not like
Yeah.
you went out to Funny's and looked and saw what was there.
No.
Got himself a Slurpee. He
Funny's
bought the tea.
gas station has gas pumps.
I would imagine.
And if I told you there was one, do you have any reason to disagree with me
No.
at that location?
No.
Now, you looked at the infotainment system. Were you asked to do anything else on this case? To examine anything by Detective Ozawa at his request?
Yes. Later on, there was I believe it was a cell phone.
Cell phone, Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 cell phone. I don't want to read off all the model numbers, but it's safe to say you looked at that, or did he
Yes.
ask you to examine that?
That is correct.
And that happened to be one of Devin Michael's phones, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And that was a additional request by Detective Ozawa.
Yes.
Court's indulgence.
This is odd. Now, again, typically this isn't done, which is why he's asking for the court's indulgence. But he is only allowed to ask questions within the scope of what the state asked. So if he wanted to go on into this wholly different topic, he would have to call this witness back and ask him his directed questions. This is a cross. So typically he would not be allowed, this would be outside the scope of direct. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but that's typically what would be allowed. So that's why he might be asking for an indulgence, because they are going, the state didn't bring up anything about this cell phone.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any follow-up, state?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Do the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have any questions for this witness?
How do we stay awake?
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
listening here today.
Goodbye, non-musical Ed Sheridan. We missed you. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. I love being able to go through breaks. Ooh.
Purpose waiting.
Good afternoon.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may see.
Thank you.
Officer, if you please state your full name and spell it for the record.
Yes, my name is Luke Good. First name Luke, last name Good.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a detective at the Henderson Police Department.
How long have you been a detective with the Henderson Police Department?
I've been a detective for a little over 4 years now.
And in which unit are you currently assigned?
Currently, I'm in the Digital Forensics Laboratory.
And what does that entail?
In the Digital Forensics Lab, we handle...
Gail, no, that was the Taylor Shabusiness trial. I think someone was making fun of, they managed to get her car. Basically, they caught her like the day after, or the day the body was discovered. There was a lot of indications that she might be the suspect. But no, they have never found the head. But it does kind of make you wonder where she put it, where she got rid of both the head and the implement she used to remove the head, because neither of those have been found. But I mean, if they don't know what dumpster to look in, I mean, that's like a needle in a haystack. Again, is probably the reason that we will never find Anna Walsh, despite, trying to find her and look for all the pieces and parts. The landfill is huge and you're looking for tiny stuff.
Essentially all investigative technology. We do extractions on cell phones, we do cell site analysis and call detail records, vehicle
we are
stuff, anything
skipping
that
forward on the, I am a cell phonologist.
The actual call transactions, and then I also received data sessions as well. Anytime that you're on YouTube or Google connecting to a cell tower, it logs those transactions too. So those are two separate documents.
To decapitate.
We also have the subscriber information document too.
Let's start with that. For the record, you're opening up Excel sub TIBCO.
Yes.
And what are we looking at here, Jim?
This is generally the subscriber information. This one they didn't fill out a lot of, but typically in this you'll see the subscriber.
French, I didn't even realize that. Oh my God, his name is Luke Good. Mr. Good Luke. Oh my God. His parents either were the most awesome people ever, because it sounds like something I would do to my child, or he wants to change his name and he wished he had been named Cher.
Subscriber name, usually that's the person using the phone or a family member or something like that. This one is actually relatively blank compared to the other ones, so they just didn't populate a lot of this. But you can see that it went into effect 11/29 of 2022.
Okay, and what is the phone number? Where is it found on this document?
Right up here in the top left, this cell.
And that matches the folder name that you just provided?
Yes.
With regard to subscriber information, different phone companies require different things when you start an account. Is that correct?
Correct.
Some companies require subscriber name, some require identification, others don't, correct?
Correct.
With regard to T-Mobile, is it shocking to you that there is a missing subscriber name, or is that something you've seen?
No, this is not uncommon.
Okay. And there are ways in which detectives can determine who is actually in possession of this number outside kind of your expert knowledge.
Correct.
Like they could call them on the number and see who answers.
Correct.
For example, okay. With regard to this particular document, is there anything else you need to convey to the jury?
No, and the document, it states the phone number in here so that we clearly know that these records are associated with this phone number.
And that's actually listed as the MSISDN. What is that? I'd have to pull it up, but it's like the Mobile Subscriber International Serial Number for the device. So anytime you see MSISDN, there's a lot of acronyms. This is always the phone number of the device. Got it. You can close out.
That's where they get you, right in the acronym.
Now there's one separate document for the CDRs and then one for the data sessions. Tell us how those differ, what we're looking at.
So the CDRs is going to be the actual call detail records. Typically, it's always going to be the dialing and receiving calls. Anytime there's a call transaction with the cellular device and another device on the network or off the network, it's going to include text messages. So any kind of transaction that traverses the network that's related to communications on the device, whether it's calls, text, stuff like that.
What about the data sessions?
The data sessions are specifically for internet connectivity, and it'll say in the actual file how many bytes up and down are occurring with each transaction. So if you're browsing the web, if you're using YouTube, something like that is what would be in the data sessions. It doesn't tell us what the data is or what sites they were connecting to, but just they were using mobile data.
Okay, and so let's step back for a moment, and if you could explain to the jury how it is that a cell device actually interacts with a cell tower.
Nope. No, we are veterans of two Karen Reeds. We are going to stick to this picture. We already know what an azimuth is, though.
With the cell tower location that you're using, and then it will also tell us which of those three antennas on the tower
you're far enough. Not again.
A tower, and you could be like 15 to 20 miles away from that.
house that I didn't
Wait,
know.
what in the Vecna is this? Is this the Mind Flare? You know that a purpose of a demonstrative is to make things clearer? This looks like the rantings of me trying to do Sudoku.
The address to.
And you mentioned GPS points, I'm glad you said that. So we've recently heard testimony from a Detective Spangler, you know him?
Yes, sir.
Spangler was tasked with dealing with the Burla, which is GPS. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that those precise GPS points are actually like breadcrumbs moving throughout the valley.
Yes, sir.
That's not what you're dealing with here.
No, what we're dealing with is we get a general geographic area of coverage. A GPS point will be able to put you within a 2 or 3 meter radius sometimes. What we're looking at is entire neighborhoods and the general direction from the tower. So I can say a device is in this general geographic area. However, I can't say exactly where in this shape it is located.
And let me
This makes sense.
just
This,
clarify something. Detective Spangler's responsibility was that GPS point,
Correct.
the Burla.
Yes.
And it'll be up to the jury to decide if this is consistent with that. Anything you're doing today with this, you're not relying on any information from the Nissan Armada's Burla system.
Correct.
This is entirely separate, and this is call detail records and timing events.
Correct. And in fact, when I map these records, I like to know as little about the case as possible, ideally, just because I'm able to focus on what the records are telling me, and I try to eliminate that bias from other sources, because then you know where to look. So if you don't have that information,
when I too am working, I like to take no advice, despite Mr. Mo being right 70% of the time.
when you start the mapping, it's interesting how telling the records can be, and then you can cross-reference that with other data afterwards.
You can also cross-reference
Doesn't
it
listen
with
to
things
people.
like video surveillance or
Only me.
times where witnesses say somebody is and all that stuff.
Correct.
But you're not doing that, that's for them to decide.
That's correct.
Go ahead.
And then we just have a couple more. This is another example. So if we go back a few slides, this is one tower that services that address. This is another tower that services that address. So you'll see there is a lot of overlap. And again, you'll have a couple options to connect to, and the cell network is constantly working in the background to keep you connected to the strongest and most reliable signal source. And again, typically that is going to be the closest tower and the direction you're facing. And I'll get into the caveats in a little bit, but just as another example of another tower in that area, and I should have overlaid them, but we'll see that in a little bit. But the coverage does overlap so that you don't drop calls. Obviously, there can't be dead spots between towers. And then this is again mapped with both features. The little, we call it a wedge. That's a wedge shape, a little pie slice. And then if we're trying to estimate or just show a visual estimate of the coverage area, based on the tower density, this is the coverage area that we're getting per Trax's calculations.
Okay, before you move on, I just want to ask,
That makes more
up in the
sense.
left corner, it has your event number, it has August 7, 2023 is the date, map CDR records from AT&T in red, and then a little bit further down, it says time frame 0200 hours PDT to 212 PDT. Is that Pacific time?
Yes, Pacific time, specifically Pacific Daylight Time, because every time the clocks change, it puts us on a different time standard.
Okay, so we previously heard the term UTC through another witness. What does that mean to you?
And that's Universal Coordinated Time. It's UTC, and that's the standard that we receive all the records in. That's the standard time that the entire world can utilize if we wanted to be on the same page. And then when you have time zones, you calculate the offset based off UTC. So UTC is always 0, and then PDT, for example, is UTC minus 7 hours, and that's how we would get to PDT.
And it's either -7 or -8.
Correct.
Depending on the time of year.
Yeah, we just switched to -8 with the time change.
Okay, and so if we're talking about August 7th record,
Daylight savings time is the devil and should be repealed. Change my mind. Vote Mo for president. We've elected worse, and I'll get rid of daylight savings time.
you're doing a -7 to the record.
Correct.
Are the AT&T records themselves going to be reflecting UTC time?
Yes.
And so anytime this jury sees a map like this, you have already done the conversion for them.
Correct.
If they want to go back and look at the original records, they have to do the math and subtract 7 based on the time of year in the original raw records.
Correct.
Got it, okay. Are there more?
Yep, there's a few more.
explanatory slides? Okay, go ahead.
This is an example of 2 different carriers that service the same area. So the blue is T-Mobile, and then the red is going to be the tower that AT&T utilizes. However, these towers, even though they're 2 different networks, they are using 2 different towers to service the same general geographic area. So this is just what that looks like. And then I wanted to show this example just because we do get these outliers sometimes where you see this line from the, and again my mouse is on there, okay. So you see this line, and you'll notice that this little house here is going to be outside of that line, outside of the expected coverage area based on the wedge that we're looking at. However, and this is why I wanted to show the alternative method of mapping, if we utilize this H-plane, and the shape of that H-plane is determined from a bunch of scientific testing through the antenna manufacturers. They're able to use a chamber, it's called an anechoic chamber, is the scientific name for it. They're able to basically measure the shape of the coverage area.
Sir, you could have just said, gosh darn Harry Potter magic, and it would have the same profoundness to me, because, honey, I don't care. Just, this is where looks are deceiving. This is actually where the tower is servicing, is all you had to say. Because don't know.
Of the radio frequencies, and that's where this shape essentially comes from. So you can see that it propagates out from the tower, not in perfect lines, and sometimes you will have that coverage a little bit back from where the wedge shows.
So we're now seeing a 249 next to the red ping and a 5657 next to the blue ping. What do those mean?
So those are just the lines, the rows from the records that it was derived from. So this is one we're mapping, and we can even pull it up live later on, and I can show and get into that. But it's referencing each one of these points in my mapping software. This is just a screenshot, but I can click it, and it'll give me a little bit more information about where that specific record came from. And the way Trax does it, which is what we're seeing here, when we're using just Trax, it's referencing the actual row number that it pulled that data from the spreadsheet that they provided.
Okay, before you move on, just so we're clear, if the jury wanted to go back and double check one particular point, they see a 249 like that on the AT&T records, they can go to line item 249 and look for themselves on the raw records.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Go ahead.
And all of those records, it's providing us latitude and longitude, it's providing us the antenna information. A lot of times it'll give you the rough street address as well for all the towers. So the software is designed to take all of that information from, it's just Excel spreadsheets with the phone numbers, the dialing number, the receiving number, all the information of a transaction or a call, including the location information of the towers that it was using. That's all in the boring spreadsheets. And then the software turns that into mapped data, and it allows us to see it.
Did you have more?
One of the last 2, this is just a good example I pulled from the internet where it shows it's not that perfect wedge shape that we depict in the mapping. That's just to give you a general idea, again, of the geographic area that a phone might be connecting. However, in reality, it's more like a blob. So what you can see here is the dark blue would be this antenna. It goes out to here. Sometimes it'll bleed over to the side of the lines. And again, there might be obstructions, buildings, something like that. That creates shadowing because radio frequencies behave similarly to light. They're the same material. You might have tall buildings here, so the better connection will be the cell tower that's actually further away. And then just to give you an example of a dense urban environment with all of that overlap, this is what it could look like.
What in the Dixie cup? I'm pretty sure we had this Dixie cup pattern when I was a child.
With the various coverage blending into each other with multiple cell towers. So this is similar to a neighborhood, like what we were just looking at with all the pictures I showed you before.
Got it. So with this particular exhibit, I want to get into a moving cell phone. So if a cell phone is interacting with towers or someone's on the phone and they're driving on the freeway, is there like handoffs between these towers as the phone moves? How does that work?
Yes, and so the coverage overlaps intentionally because when you start getting away from this tower, the network is constantly measuring and keeping track of your signal strength. And once you reach a certain point, and again that can change from day to day even, you reach a certain point where the network will decide now the next closest tower is the strongest signal, and it will seamlessly transfer you to that. So you can drive around town without ever dropping a call.
Maybe you can't.
Yeah, sometimes you do.
All right, is that the end of your explanatory
Yes.
exhibits? Okay, so let's go back to folder 1 with Andrea Reyes' CDRs.
Okay.
Go into provided files, CDRs, and then if you could open up the particular records we need to describe before you go into any mapping.
Sure, we can open up the CDR records. So this is what it looks like when they send it to us. And what you'll see here is each column, they'll provide us, it's a ton of data, and I apologize.
And welcome, Nick Starro Raiders. We are on the Devin Michaels case, the ex-prawn star who beheaded her boyfriend. I know it says Sarah Grace Patrick, but that trial has been adjourned until, well, July. So we are going to finish up this retro trial, and then we will look at some other retro trials. So I have a couple that I've been wanting to go back and look at. So I will put up a poll tonight to see where we will go after this. We are at the awful end of cell phone data. So welcome. We will try to speed through all of this, but good Lord, I'm having flashbacks to the Karen Reed and Karen Reed 2, the redo. So yikes.
I wanted you all to be familiar with this before we get into the moving and the other exhibits, just because it's good to foundationally understand where.
Okay, we understand cell phone records. We are going to move to him actually showing us the GD video.
Typically what we use, everybody has access to it, and it's provided by Google. So all of the software is able to create a file that Google Earth can read. So I'm just traveling down to Las Vegas.
Ooh, we're going to
Actually,
Vegas, y'all.
This particular record, I'm going to zoom
We
out a
don't
little
have
bit.
a
So
parachute, apparently.
All right, so before you move on, well, while you're moving on, I guess tell us what you're doing.
So right now, I have Google Earth open. This is going to be the program that we view the mapped records in. So now I'm navigating to the file, the Google Earth file that I'm able to open that I created with that record in the CDR mapping, map data. So I'm going to open the Google Earth
enough.
map to export that I created. So it's going to zoom into the area of the mapping. And there's a couple things to explain here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what we have up here in the top left is our little, and this is where it'll be more and more interesting for you guys. In the top left here, we see the.
Interesting is a word I don't think you can use when it involves Harry Potter cell phone magic, but interesting is in the eye of the beholder, sir.
Time period that's displayed. So we have the records starting on 7/31 and they end on 8/21 of 2023. So right now it's showing all transactions during that time period.
Is it converted from UTC already?
Yes, I converted in my mapping software. So I already converted it. This is PDT, so this will be -7. It'll be an hour offset from our current time because of daylight savings time that just occurred. However, it's showing me what I showed you before, these towers, and then every tower is going to have associated data with it. So it copies all the data from the spreadsheet, and it'll show me how it used that data to map it. So now we have the actual maps that we can produce from all that data on the spreadsheet.
And the date range that you were just referencing, that is the entirety of the records that you received for Andrea Ray.
Correct.
So it goes back to July 31st of 23 and ends August 21st of 23.
Correct.
Is that common to get that amount of time in records?
Yeah, oftentimes what we'll do is if we know when an event happened, we will look for a pattern of life as well. So we'll request a few weeks maybe before the event, just so we can see what their movements are, where they're typically located before the actual event in question that we're interested in.
And all of this has to be approved by a judge.
Correct.
And so, there's a lot of private information contained on your phone records. So you can't go overbroad and ask for like the entire cell phone history of this phone.
Correct. It's not a blank check, otherwise the warrant will get denied. So we can only ask for a reasonable window of time that would be relevant to what we're looking into.
And so this is the records that you received from Detective Ozawa associated with Andrea Reyes' phone.
Correct.
And show us what's relevant about the mapping related to this phone.
So if we zoom out a little bit, we'll see that it's in the state of Oregon. I don't have the state lines here, but this is California. Las Vegas is right here where my mouse hand is. And then up here, just north of California, we have an area in Oregon. And I can even turn on.
Now, this is important because the defense has brought up Andrea and the kind of relatively close to the incident breakup that John and Andrea had, and did try to throw Andrea or Andrea, look, they're spelled the same, under the bus as her possibly having something to do with this. Now, obviously, she was all the way, or at least her cell phone was all the way in Oregon. This doesn't preclude her from, having driven down to Nevada without her cell phone. For me, it would have, because I wouldn't have GPS, but there you go.
Some borders and labels so we can actually see a little bit more familiar. So here we have the state of Oregon. Zoom in down here to southwest Oregon. That's where all of the records are at. It started automatically zooming in because there were no records outside of this area. So for this particular phone number, the records are only in what you see on my screen right now. They never go anywhere else.
Got it. And so you as a detective, you don't have any information as to why Andrea Reyes may be relevant, may be irrelevant. You're just given this information and you're trying to figure out where her phone was at an operative time period.
That's correct, and I prefer not to know that information so I can just review the records as they are.
Can you focus in on the late evening hours of August 6th, 23 through the early morning hours of August 7th?
Yep, and what I can do is I can either adjust the slider here to narrow my window of time, but since we have something specific, I can actually type it in as well. So what was the date range that you wanted again?
Let's go with 10 p.m. on August 6th into 2 a.m. on August 7th.
Okay.
Interesting.
So we don't have to redo this. Actually, can you just do noon on August 6th or noon on August 7th?
Sure. So noon from August 6th, Pacific Daylight Time, to August 7th. Noon again, Pacific Daylight Time. And then you can see here, it'll show what time zone I'm using. And again, this is Southwest Oregon. And these two towers, we can infer based off everything I just told you about how the cell towers and network coverage works. This is a good example actually of a rural area where there's not a lot of towers and there's multiple cities and geographic areas that one tower can actually service. And you'll see there's two main towers that the people in this valley utilize, and the records were bouncing back and forth depending on which one had the best signal.
Okay, so it looks like Ms. Reyes' phone was in Oregon during the operative time period we just provided.
Correct.
We can back out of, well, unless you want to illustrate that with the moving map.
This one's not a great one for it because, and this is where rural detectives might have some troubles because you don't get a lot of movement in rural areas just because there's not a lot of towers that service large geographic regions. So I can close this out if we're done with it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And let's travel back to Las Vegas.
Back to Vegas, babe.
All right, so if you can exit out of, or don't exit, minimize Google Earth, go into the second folder there.
Okay.
What are we looking at here?
This is the provided files and mapped data for the phone number 702-561-9242.
And that was provided as Jonathan Willette's CDRs.
Correct.
Let's open the provided files real quick. CDR records, original, What are we looking at?
So these are the records that they send. These records are going to be a little different because they obtained them in a different way from my understanding. They used live tracking, and when you request live tracking of a phone, they'll also send you the historical records that we've been talking about, but they don't label them as nicely for us. So
Okay, so hold on a second. So we talked a little bit earlier about attempting to locate suspects, and you've used this technology before.
correct.
If a particular phone is missing from a scene, they go a different route and request records in a different way.
Correct.
So they could actually go find that phone, and you don't know how that phone was ultimately found, whether they used this or they just happened upon it.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
So we can open up the files though. This is the table of contents I was talking about that the previous records and other T-Mobile records come with. It's actually pretty easy to look through, and I believe you all will have access to this. But it tells you literally what every single one of those columns and rows means. It gives you some reference examples, and then it gives you some stuff that is not as important. However, it explains the date, it tells you the format the date's in, the call type, and then this is where we can see what each one of those things mean. So MOC, mobile originating call, MTC, mobile terminating call. It'll tell you what the transaction was, if you really wanted to dive into it and see what each row was talking about. Let me close that out. The next one, and they didn't label them very well for us. This is the certificate of authenticity. Same thing that was provided with the previous records, and that's provided with all records for us to utilize. They're just saying that these are legitimate from our end, and they're true and correct as far as they have them stored. And then this is just a request form for us. So when we want to terminate the live tracking, we fill out this form and send it back to them. And then we can get into the subscriber information. This is an example of a more complete set of subscriber information.
And read for the record the subscriber name here.
That subscriber name is showing Jonathan / Tracy Weilet / Baker.
Okay, and then there's a address associated with that.
Correct?
That subscriber address is what was given when the phone was initiated, correct?
That's correct.
Not, you can't glean from that address where the person lived at the time of any given incident.
No.
Okay. When was the activation date on this one?
11/13 of year 2020.
And then IMSI, same as we've described before.
Yep, same as we described before, the serial number for the SIM that they're using, MSISDN, which is again a fancy way of saying phone number, and that's going to be the target phone number for these records, which you'll see in the top left of every associated record as well.
Did you read that into the record?
The phone number for the record we're looking at? It is area code 702-561-9242.
Okay. Close out of that, move on to the next. And you're hitting don't save, I noticed, every time. You're leaving this exhibit in the condition the exhibit is going back to the jury.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not changing anything. So when I click around, sometimes you'll see like that column collapsed into a different number format. I don't want it to save like that. I want it to stay the way that we received the record. So I'm just saying don't save.
Got it. What's
The next one would be, and this is why I have another folder that says functional format.
oh, okay, what does that mean?
That just means that they sent me a weird format. It's Microsoft Excel 97 to 2003. So that was something, the way they saved it on their end. So what I was able to do, it just asked me if I wanted to convert it to a format.
Yeah, I'm wondering who Tracy is. Maybe Tracy is Devier's mom, but I thought she had a different, it was a more interesting name. I'm wondering if Yoko, his mother, whose name is Yoko, maybe she has an American name as well. I don't know. Tracy, I'm confused. Just when I think I have the cast of characters down, we add another.
That my computer can read, which I did, which is why I made this functional format folder. So now we click that and it'll actually open up.
Okay. And so again, we're working with T-Mobile records for Jonathan.
Yes.
And all the columns that we went through previously, that would apply to this record as well?
Yep, the same record.
And so we're clear, this is in UTC as we look at it now.
Yes.
So any mapping you did with regard to Jonathan's phone would have been converted over.
That's correct. And they tell you at the top, they remind us that all times are in UTC, and then they tell you the actual time frame of the records at hand. So these records are from 6/1 of 2023 to 8/7 of 2023. And so it's a lot longer, and and this is why we use programs to map them, and we don't do it by hand, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of rows, all the way down to almost 6,000 transactions in this one set of records.
Got it. Now, these particular records end on August 7, 2023 at 8:55 p.m. UTC.
Correct.
I hate to put you on the spot to do math, but what is that in Pacific?
Oh, that should be 1:55 in the morning.
1:55 in the morning?
Or sorry, no, we're PM. 1:55 in the afternoon.
Okay. And so you wouldn't know if that device was actually found at that time by the detective?
No.
Okay.
And then nothing really to go over otherwise. It has the date, the time, and UTC, like we said, and then you'll have to be on the spot and subtract 7 with a 12 in the mix to figure out the time.
And let me correct my language. I said you wouldn't know if the phone was found at that time. It could have been seized at that time. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't know the details of the device itself. I'm just operating off of what the network provided us.
Okay. Close out of that.
Okay.
And timing is new.
Yes.
So let's go into this and describe how this is different from what we've seen with Ms. Reyes.
So these are, we map them as the timing arcs. So when I showed you all those crisscrossing arcs, this is where that comes from. It's a separate document. And again, it uses that echo ping to calculate the distance from the network. There is a way to map it with lat longs, but it's not as accurate as GPS, and they give us weird confidence levels. So instead, I map it as the arcs because we actually know how that works, and there's more confidence involved with it. And it tells us some of the same stuff we've seen before, like the IMSI, the IMEI. It tells us the phone model, and then it will tell us the actual time as we scroll over. It'll tell us the time of the transactions, and the way that I map it, and the
It's not much of a
best
talk.
practices and industry standard way of mapping this kind of information is utilizing those arcs, and it measures the distance here in these columns. But it's using the same cell towers, same location information, same date and time, same device information. The only difference with timing is it's using those antennas, and it's calculating the distance from the antenna whenever they're sending that little ping signal to the phone,
All right.
and the phone's
Get
sending
to
it
the,
back.
No, give me to the map. Show me where this man's cell phone moved. I can't do.
9130.
And does this one show activation date like the other ones did? Service start date?
Yeah, it shows
that.
Where'd you see it?
Now this is Devin
Oh, here we
Michael.
are,
So this
active
is the
time. So the
defendant.
MSISDN, and remember that's the acronym for phone number, active on 11/23/2021 to now, or when we pulled the records.
Got it. Okay, you can close out of that. Thought we'd skip that. What else would we do?
They give us a couple different things, and for some reason they'll send it as a separate file. But the IMEI is saying for this phone or this IMEI, this is the phone number that's associated with it as of this time, 7/10/2023, and then the phones will.
Snipe, I have no idea. We are going to watch that hearing once we get to the verdict because I heard that was full of fireworks. Because I have no earthly idea. She was all set to take the plea deal and then decided, I'm innocent. Sure, Jan.
Often have, sometimes we'll see 2 of these just because you can have different SIMs inside one device. So they'll send us a report though if there's any serial numbers associated with the phone number and the actual device. But that's the whole page. They do it as a separate page for some reason. Same with the IMSI, which remember is a serial number essentially for the SIM card.
Get us to the map.
We want any devices that you Google logged inside of this geographic area. What they send us back is a spreadsheet it's called obfuscated IDs. So they send us, it's a bunch of random numbers, and every device has a long random number associated with it. And we can map it still, but we have to pick out based on that, hey, we're interested in these 3 different ID numbers. And they don't give us any information on who it belongs to. They don't tell us if it's a phone or a microwave. They don't tell us anything other than...
Can anyone in chat tell me how to check if I blocked Jay somehow? My cat walked across the phone and now I'm not seeing this person in chat. I don't think he's been in this chat today, but I think if you get to a desktop, you can see who you've blocked accidentally. I know I can do it. I know I can look at people I've blocked as a creator, but I think you can also go in and see if you've blocked anyone. But that is all I know.
It was at this location, and this is the arbitrary number that we gave it for your purposes. If we find a device of interest that we see moving around in that area or in the area of interest at that time, we send those numbers back to Google for a second step, and we say, hey, we want more information on this, or we would like the subscriber information and identities on this, and then that's what the various steps are. Detective Ozawa would have to go into more details of what he was requesting each step, but that's how they do it, just so the customer data is initially anonymous. Because if we do a bank robbery at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to capture a lot of innocent people whose privacy is completely unrelated to what we're investigating. So we have to try to pick out what we think are the suspect devices. That way we're not just arbitrarily violating everybody's privacy who happened to be there at the time.
And in this particular case, did you or Detective Ozawa receive Google location data ultimately in the 3rd step for 1 or more devices?
I believe he got multiple devices, but I only focused on one in particular. This should be, yeah, he got, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 of interest that he picked out.
Okay, and they're titled Jonathan Willett, Devin Michaels, Tracy Baker, and Yoko.
Yes, and each file has an associated file that is the original zip from Google, but he didn't want to change the actual file, so in good practices, he made a copy of it, and then he noted which one was which.
Got it. And so I believe you said you narrowed it down or focused on one. Was that the victim, or Jonathan Millett's
Correct.
device?
Yes.
And what type of information did you get before you go into the mapping part that allowed you to map Jonathan Millett's device?
So they gave us, let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh, this is testing the limits of my ability to ADHD.
And what I just did is I opened the file that I created. There's a drop down. It's basically a Google Earth folder system. So I created a few points of interest so that way we can easily see them and we don't have to keep trying to type it in and guess where they're at.
A few or 2?
2.
Okay.
2 points of interest. And then that is 5510 Porcupine Rim Street, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89130. And the second one is 2698 Paula Dura Drive, Henderson, Nevada, 89074. I'm going to uncheck.
One is going to be Devin's house. The other is going to be
just
where
to
John
help my
went
computer with
Yoko's.
processing. Andrea Reyes, the 702-353-3823 phone number. And when I uncheck it, it's no longer displaying her information anymore. Let me go down to Las Vegas here. And so the 3 phones, cellular device records that I have up now is the number ending in 9242, the number ending in 1336, and the number ending in 4430 for Jonathan Willett, Devier Willett, and Devin Michaels.
Okay, so let's narrow this down a little bit to the evening hours of August 6, 2023.
And if you are new to this case, the defense has been going basically on Devier, Jonathan's son, somehow because his job was putting in like Ring doorbell cameras or security systems, he was somehow able to use that knowledge to go across town, leave no evidence on any, license plate readers or anything, left his phone at home, of course, offed his dad, somehow missed his wife/stepmom as she was driving home, and then got back before she did. Yeah, none of this makes sense. Basically, Devier's phone shows him at the house the entire evening. That being said, I'm sure there's a way you can figure out to hack your phone so it looks like you're doing something in your house. But we have seen Devier testify. This man is a thinking hobbyist. He is not a thinking, routine thinker.
And I'm just dialing in the time now because we're displaying almost a whole week of data at once. So we're just narrowing that to the relevant time period.
Let's do 7 PM, change that to P.
So 7 p.m. on the 6th.
Yep, and then, I guess 9 AM on the 7th.
Sure.
And if the jury wants to see outside that range that I picked as an example, they can go into this box on the exhibit itself and they can change that stuff.
Yeah, as long as they have Google Earth on the computer they're using. And yours, if you are looking at it, yours might crash. This is an expensive computer that's made to do this, so that's why I brought it today.
Oh, well, now.
But I do have, yeah.
Someone's mom got them a Dell. Dude, you're getting a Dell. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad he has a fancy smanchy computer because the jurors are getting, Windows 10.
Say, you made some backups in the event that happened.
I made some videos for y'all as well.
Okay. Do you need to explain that now or after this?
Whatever you prefer. I would like to be able to play the videos, just because it's set at the perfect speed and everything's easy to just have up.
Okay, so before we get there though.
Yeah.
Just representative wise, you've unclicked Andrea Reyes, so now we have the records associated with Jonathan Willett, Debbie Willett, Devin Michaels.
Correct.
Next to the names on the left, it says the colors. Jonathan is in blue, Debbie is in green, Devin is in red.
Correct.
And so anytime we see green on that map, it represents Debbie. Anytime we see blue on that map, it represents Jonathan. Anytime we see red, it represents Devin.
Correct.
Okay. Would you prefer to go into the videos and play those?
Yeah, it might be better to play the videos, and I can keep this up in the background too. We can go in and look at stuff live. The benefit of being able to do this is just so we can, for example, we can zoom in on records, and in Google Earth without having to have my mapping software because I exported it to Google Earth. If your computer can handle it, you can go in and you can click and you can see the information that it's pulling to map those records and a little bit more detail about it. Because as you're clicking around, you can see if a call transaction, this is just timing advance because it's zeros, but you can see how long certain calls are. For example, this one was 2 minutes and 9 seconds for this transaction that used this particular tower and antenna facing. So it's just something you can click around and explore. This is what I do investigatively when I'm trying to determine information based off of cell records.
Got it.
But let me pull up the videos that
I mean, y'all, honest to God, I feel like I'm in Signs. I feel like I'm in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Is this where the aliens are, in our backyard and they're trying to tell us where to land? Because God bless the people that actually understand what this means. Because, like I said, it's a bunch of crop circles to me.
I made because those are less likely to crash.
And the jury will have access to these videos too.
Correct. Yep.
And that's not linked to Google. That's like a screen record of you doing this prior to court.
Yes. So I used Google Earth, and you're able to. It's gonna freak out when I do it right now, but.
Well, don't do it. Okay.
Oh, we can. We'll leave that. So I can hit this play button though. I just haven't adjusted the speed, but you can change the speed. And if I hit play, it'll slowly start going through whatever time window I have. So the time slider will move through time, and it's kind of like the snake game. If you have a large enough time window, you'll see at the head of the snake transactions are popping up, and after a couple seconds, you'll see the tail of the snake falling off. And it's good to have that window of time instead of just a point, because you can kind of see the history and where the snake is coming from when you play it. Instead, you'll have points popping up if you don't trail it a little bit. And I'll show you what that looks like in the video here.
Okay.
What time frame are we looking at for the record?
So the time frame we're looking at is similar, and I have it, let me back out a little bit. I put it in the file names so that we know. The time frame you're looking at is going to be 1900, which is 7 p.m. on August 6th, and then it goes until 2 p.m. the next day on August 7th. I have it set so that every second that passes in our lives right now is approximately a little less than a minute on the display. I can slow my playback time down a little bit if it's too fast and we want to pause it and go back. we can manipulate this however
No,
we
no
want.
one wants to go back. We must go forward.
But let me just hit play. So we're starting at
Please, God,
7
someone hit
p.m.
play.
on the night of August 6th. The blue is Jonathan's records, and the red, okay, hit play. The red will be Devin's, and then the green will be Devier. And you can see up here at 55 Porcupine, you'll see some red and some green popping up, indicating that they're in that geographic area. You'll see down at 2698 Polidura, you'll see the blue. And from Porcupine, this is that snake I was telling you about. You can see the device traveling based off the nearest cell towers. From Porcupine down to Polidura Drive, just got there around 8 p.m. the night of the 6th.
Well, there's been flashes of green up at the Porcupine Rim. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let's just put that into the record when you do see it. Go ahead.
There will be no flashing up at Porcupine Rim. Again, God bless whoever named that street.
Okay. And so what we just saw was the red records, Devin's records, appearing to travel down. And you'll often see that you can infer what street people are even on based on how the records travel. So I'll back it up a little bit so you can see that traveling again. But this is what it looks like with the timing and the cell tower data when somebody's moving through a city and they're getting handed off to the next best cell towers as they travel.
Before you move on,
Sure.
just real quick, we see these devices lighting up. Sometimes they're right next to each other. Does that necessarily mean they're communicating with each other, or they're just communicating?
No, this is just general. So the way that I mapped it is I mapped all the timing, all the data, all the calls, everything for each person as one color. So everything in red, if you see red, it could be either data source, it could be call records, it could be text messages, it could be anything that involves
Ooh,
the
she's
cellular
texting
network.
and driving.
That's all it's showing is just activity for that device and which cell tower they were using.
Okay.
And then let me play again. So again, it's 7:50 p.m. on the night of the 6th, traveling down to 2698 Polidura Drive, or the geographic area thereof at least. And then at the top, you see some green flashes of Porcupine Rim Street. And at 2698 Polidura Drive, you're seeing a lot of red and blue activity.
And the green is still showing up at Porcupine Rim.
The green's still showing up at Porcupine Rim, and now at about 8:45, we see them. It looks like they're traveling together, or appearing to. You see red and blue popping up, and then ending up at Porcupine Rim Street. And let me pause it, because it's important to note that you don't get an exact minute-by-minute play. It's whenever the device has activity. So a lot of times you'll see gaps, just because the device isn't doing anything at those times.
You'll see gaps in the time.
Yeah, and you'll see gaps in activity, because you're not going to get a perfect line when somebody moves. Like, they'll disappear for a second, and you'll see them pop up a few blocks away, just because the device wasn't doing anything at that moment.
Go ahead.
I don't know. She was texting that entire drive.
So now all three devices are showing up at Porcupine Rim Street. We have some green, we have some blue, we have some red, all overlapping in the geographic area of Porcupine Rim.
And we have blue and red heading back, and for the record, what time is that?
So blue and red heading back, and they're arriving back in the area at 2698 Polidura Drive at approximately 10 p.m.
So Jonathan's cell phone is activating on the way back to the Polidura residence at 9:50 something?
Yeah, and we can back it up a little bit. So they're traveling there at about 9:45. They're about halfway between Porcupine Rim Street and Polidura Drive, in the middle of the city, and you can see both devices are showing up. I do have a trailing of time, so if the red just had a transaction and the blue didn't, you'll still see the blue a little bit back. It doesn't mean they're not traveling together. It doesn't mean they are traveling together, but they have activity in the same area. They appear to be traveling around the same time. So we're traveling down from Porcupine Rim Street, it looks like, and it looks like, based on the towers that they're hopping and handing off to, traveling towards the geographic area of 2698 Polidura Drive. We're only seeing the blue, Jonathan's, and the red, Devin's records, traveling right now. And the green records, Devier, is still showing up at Porcupine Rim. So at about 10 o'clock, it looks like the blue and the red are now utilizing cell towers in the geographic area.
And this is important for Devier because this is actual interaction with his phone. So this is him physically manipulating, or someone physically manipulating his phone at the home. So he's actually, texting something, looking something up. So he physically has to interact with his phone, and that's important for Devier. And the reason that, you know, after they looked at his data and everything else, he wasn't considered the primary suspect.
Area of 2698 Polidura Drive.
Green is popping up at Porcupine Rim at about 10:26.
Yep, and now at 10:30, we're still seeing blue and red at Polidura, and we're seeing more green at Porcupine Rim as we come up on 10:45. Coming up on 11 o'clock now. 11 o'clock, we're still seeing, let me freeze it, it's 11:04 p.m. on the night of the 6th. We're seeing green cellular device network activity for Devier up at 5510 Porcupine Rim. And down here on the bottom of the screen, you see we're not seeing as much blue activity anymore, but we're still seeing red for Devin at 2698 Polidura Drive.
Pause there for a second. So just because we're not seeing blue down at Paladura does not mean the device isn't still at Paladura.
Correct.
It means it's just not interacting or doing things.
Correct. It's just not, for whatever reason, it's not engaging with the network. Obviously, the more you use your device and the more you're doing stuff on it, the more you're going to have activity reflected through the network, whether it's calls, data, stuff like that. If you're not touching your device, it goes dormant, and it's unless you have something in the background running, like music playing, you're not going to have a network connection, and then we're not going to see anything in the actual records.
Go ahead.
Note to self, if one is doing a felonious activity, turn off my podcast. Just good to know. I mean, for future reference.
So coming up on 11:15, we see some red at 2698 Polidura Drive, a blip of blue at approximately 11:20, and again at 11:28. And if I remember correctly, that's the last we see of the blue at around 11:30 at night on the 6th at Polidura Drive.
On this, please.
Yes, on this.
Google a little bit different.
Correct. And we had a blip of red at...
Sorry, let me stop you.
Go ahead.
Green just popped up at Porcupine Rim.
Correct.
What time was that?
And if we want to go to the live, we can get a little bit more into that as well. But
No, that's okay.
at about 11:35 p.m., we see green at Porcupine Rim. And I'll watch for it now more. At midnight, we see green at Porcupine Rim Street.
Thank you, Rachel.
We're still seeing red activity down at Polidura Drive, and that's at about 12:25. And we just saw some green at around 12:25 as well up at Porcupine Rim Street. And this is half an hour past midnight. Seeing a little more activity by the red down at Polidura. More green at 12:55 at Porcupine Rim. More red at Polidura at about 1:05 in the morning. And at about 1:18 in the morning, we're seeing more green at Porcupine Rim for Devier. And for Devin, we just saw at 1:30 Polidura Drive again. And this is all in the morning. At about 1:45, we just saw more green at Porcupine Rim.
So when we're seeing green flashing into these late night, early morning hours, does that mean that the Devier phone is actively communicating, or does that mean something else?
Not necessarily. We'd have to check the records themselves. What I just saw coming up, just from mapping these records so much, were the timing arcs. So for whatever reason, the cellular network was pinging the phone. And then we can even get into the records to see exactly what they're doing on it, because we'll be able to see if they sent a text message at a certain time or a phone call. But usually when you're manipulating your device, we'll see a lot more of that signaling.
So this could be just signaling from the network to the device.
Correct.
You could be asleep for all we know.
Yeah, sometimes the network's doing that on its own.
Now-
If you can resume it.
It's important because Devier did go on the stand. Now, the defense did prove that Devier had been not truthful as far as his testimony in the grand jury. Now, he was mostly not truthful about the extent of his relationship with Devin. That seems to be the main thing he was not truthful about. However, he has stated and he testified that he was asleep when Devin came home. So the state, is kind of like, well, he could have been asleep, right?
And again, we're at about 2 a.m. right now, 2 in the morning. The time showing is 2:03. We have red at Polladura Drive, and we have green at Porcupine Rim. And I'll hit play again. 2:05, 2:08, 2:10 in the morning, and now we see the red. It appears to be leaving the geographic area of Polladura Drive.
Okay, back up, sorry. Go to around 2 o'clock.
It's 2:04.
Okay, that'll work. So 2:04, the red phone appears to still be down at 2690 Polladura.
Correct.
Go ahead.
And hit play. So we're coming up on 2:10, 2:15, and the device appears to be in motion, traveling towards the geographic area of 5510 Porcupine Rim Street.
Okay.
And it looks like around 2:40, they appear to be entering that general geographic area. And we're not seeing anything from blue down here at Polladura anymore. And now we're just playing in the morning here. It's coming up on 3:20 in the morning. We see
Still
some
flashing
green
at Porcupine?
and some red still flashing at Porcupines.
Can you note that when the green flashes at Porcupine? You don't need to stop it, just.
Yeah, at approximately 4 a.m. we had green and red both appearing at Porcupine Rim Street, and it's continued into the early hours of 4. We're coming up on 4:30 now, and we still see more red flashing at Porcupine Rim. 4:40, we saw some green flashing at Porcupine Rim.
And again, without going into the records, you don't know if that's just passive activity on the phone or active activity.
Correct, it's just all activity has been met. And then we're coming up on 5:30 in the morning now. We see some red flashing and some green flashing at Porcupine Rim Street. I'm coming up on 6 a.m. Sun's starting to come up. We have some red flashing around 6:30 and some green flashing around 6:30 in the morning at Porcupine Rim Street. Red again, closer to almost 7 o'clock at Porcupine Rim Street. Now we're into the 7 a.m. hour. We see some green, Porcupine Rim, red, Porcupine Rim. And now,
Yep, you missed it. There we go.
at around 7:25, we now have red, green, and blue all appearing at Porcupine Rim Street. So we had some blue for Jonathan pop-up now at Porcupine.
Okay, so you don't need to go back to it in the exhibit, but if I recall correctly, the blue phone didn't have any activity after a certain hour, and this is going to be the first time it pops up on these records at 7 and it's crossed.
Correct. The last time we saw the blue previous to this was around 11:30 at night, the previous night at Polladura Drive.
Got it. You can respond.
Now we're seeing some green, some red, and it's coming up on 7:45 in the morning now at Porcupine Rim.
Now green starts to move about 7:50.
Yep, green starts to move around 7:50, traveling southeast. Red is still up at the geographic area of Porcupine Rim, and blue as well, showing up now at 8:20. Green's still traveling, looks like they're traveling southeast towards Henderson, as we still see more red and blue popping up at the Porcupine Rim Street geographic area.
And I don't think you know really any facts about this scenario, but
No.
the green appears to go across town. It does not go to the Polladura address around 8, it goes somewhere else.
Correct, based on these records, the device is showing closer, this is Boulder Highway over here on the bottom right, and that's where the green appears to have ended up. And then obviously, we all know what it looks like if they were in the geographic area of Polladura, which they are not at this time.
And you wouldn't be aware if that particular phone's owner said he was working that day. None of that is on your radar, this is just based on the record.
I know none of those details, correct.
Go ahead.
Continuing, it's again 9:10 in the morning now. We're seeing red and blue popping up at Porcupine Rim. And this is important to note, those are those two towers that service that same geographic area that we talked about at the beginning. That's why I made that screenshot of it, so you can see those two towers are the ones that we're seeing popping up. And I have another video that has a closer view of it. But at 9:30, we're seeing red, blue. 9:40, we're seeing red, blue at Porcupine Rim. And the green for Devier appears to be down near Boulder and Lake Mead and Henderson.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
So the red appeared to leave around 10 a.m. is a rough estimate,
around 9:45 a.m. Yeah.
9:45. And then I saw a little flash of blue that suggests that the blue one is left up at Porcupine.
Correct.
Did I see that one?
Yes. There is still a flash of blue at the same cell tower that services the geographic area of Porcupine Rim Street. And then we see that snake trail for the red appearing to travel southbound. And the green for Devier, because I know we're keeping track of three things, is still down here near Lake Mead and Boulder area in Henderson. When we hit play, we see the red traveling to the Summerlin area. The blue is still showing up at Porcupine Rim at that same cell tower.
Green's looking like it's moving.
Green's moving, but green appears to go even further south into Henderson.
It actually is it cut off on our video?
It might be. We can go into the actual records if we wanted to follow more on green.
But it's available if the jury wants to.
Yeah, it's
it goes
available.
down.
But it goes down out of the picture here that we have cropped,
Okay.
but not near the Paladura.
Red's back up at Porcupine Rim in the 10 o'clock hour.
Correct. And then we see activity from green. And now we're coming up on 11:20 a.m.
Green looks like it's moving back toward north.
Yeah, we're getting some timing measurements from green based on cell towers in the Henderson area. And then we see red traveling back down again around noon. You see green still in that Boulder Lake Mead area, and then you see the red landing at noon at the Paladura Drive address.
Got it.
And then you can see the green still over here. To note, you might have seen those gigantic.
The blue flashes are still going on at the Porcupine Rim home. So at least Devin was smart enough not to take, John's cell phone to her when she went and stopped by the house where, the incident happened.
Gigantic arcs from the green. Remember, those were timing advance. It could be anywhere along that arc. So not necessarily if it's showing an arc coming close to an area of interest. We can't say for sure whether or not it's actually on that line. It could be all the way across the city at the other end of the arc.
And these places where the green has all the crisscrossing,
Yes.
on the map, your map encompasses almost the entire Las Vegas Valley, correct?
Yes.
So it looks a couple inches away, but here we're talking about like a distance.
No, these are several miles.
Between Paladura
And where this location is, yeah, correct.
We are almost done with cell phone.
All right, and we're coming up on 12:30 p.m. Red still showing up at Paladura Drive at approximately 12:50 p.m. Green is still showing activity somewhere near Boulder Highway. And then green appears to be moving north back towards the Porcupine Rim geographic area, and we saw a flash of blue as well around 1:20. And red is still down at Paladura Drive now, coming up on 1:45 p.m. And red is now traveling at approximately 1:45 p.m. northbound towards the geographic area of Porcupine Rim Street, where they're arriving at around 2:05 p.m. in the afternoon. Green is there as well now.
Okay, I think you can close out of this one.
Yep.
Before we need to take our recess, I want to get into the mapping of the Google stuff. What's these next ones?
These are all zoomed in a little bit. So I wanted to be able to show, this is from 9:45 to 2:30 in the morning at the zoomed in on Paladura. If we wanted to have a closer look, because I know when we looked at that overview, we may have wanted to look a little closer.
Why don't
he's
we
thorough.
go to the Google and we
Yeah.
can return to that if we need to?
Sure.
Just in the interest of time.
State's attorney's like, no, the
My
jury's
view.
lost.
So I can read my details. So I mapped the Google location, and we can also pull it up in to live. However, this is the video. So what I have here, and would you like me to explain a little bit about what it is?
Yes.
So from those files with step 1, step 2, step 3, where the detective requested location data from Google, they sent them back. We looked at the sheet. It shows the latitude, longitude, and the approximate radius. In the specific record that's mapped here, it's only Wi-Fi locations. So there are no GPS locations. So as we're watching it, I mapped it as light blue. So light blue dots will be the Wi-Fi locations. What a cellular device is doing is, if you open up your phone right now and you looked at Wi-Fi, you'll see a handful of available networks. Your phone just saw all of those networks, and it just told Google about it. And that's what we're requesting from Google. So you don't even have to connect. It's called a probe request. Your phone is just looking for networks to connect to. It's up to you if you decide to connect to them, if you have the password. However, just your phone seeing them gets logged by Google. And that is that's the location information that they're sending us. They know the location of these Wi-Fi points. And so when your phone sees them, that's another way that Google estimates your location for a lot of various reasons. But this is information we can request as law enforcement.
You just pointed out as though Google is George Orwell's big brother.
Yeah, watching us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little
Before you start, the CDRs for Jonathan Willett showed dead activity, no pun intended, but like dead activity between 11 p.m. and what time?
Dead activity. Good. Okay. You know, to be fair, when assaulted by this much cell phone data, I can use bad puns too. Can we hurry up, though?
Around 7 or 8 a.m. the next day.
Okay, and at 11 p.m. it's showing at Paladura, at 7 or 8 it's showing up at Porcupine.
Correct.
This gives you a little more information.
Yep, so we had a lapse in cell network interactions. The phone wasn't being utilized to make calls or any logged data sessions with the network. However, the phone appears to have been on, and it was noticing Wi-Fi networks, and it told Google about it. And so this is what we got from Google about all the Wi-Fi networks and the locations of them that device saw. And the time right now is 2:04 a.m. on the 7th, so the morning of 2:04 a.m. at 2698 Paladura Drive, again on the morning of the 7th. Those light blue dots are the Wi-Fi location hits, and I overlaid it with the red CDR records for Devin.
And so does it appear
And I can
that...
slow it down. Go ahead.
Oh, let it play.
Let me just adjust. I'm just going to adjust the speed a little bit because that was kind of fast. But again, the light blue down at the bottom right, and the red is the CDR network records. The light blue is the Google records, and I mapped them and played them both together.
And that's at 2:04, 2:07, 2:09. It appears that the Google Jonathan Willett device is moving away from the scene in the same path that the red Devin Michaels device.
Correct, around the same approximate times.
And the green is still popping up at Porcupine.
Correct. And all those blue dots are the known Wi-Fi access point locations that Google knows about that the phone is seeing. And then at about 2:45 in the morning, I zoomed in just so we can see it a little bit better. We have the red CDR records showing the geographic area of Porcupine Rim, and Wi-Fi is a bit more precise just because it doesn't go as far.
And the Jonathan Willett number appears to have landed at Porcupine Rim about 2:45.
Yeah, and it's been there. And then you can see all the dots are showing at...
Wait. You said it's been there. It landed there at 2:45, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it's just showing up in the records. This is in the morning at 2:52 a.m. And throughout the night, that green for, or I'm sorry, I was talking about Debbie for the green. Yeah, but for the blue for Jonathan, landed there, correct?
Landed there at 2:45 around the same time as the Devin Michaels
Yes,
device.
so the Devin Michaels CDR records and the blue location data from Google for Jonathan landed there at around 2:45.
And in the meantime, the green has been consistently hitting at Porcupine Rim.
Yeah, and that's what you'll see pop up, which is why I was mentioning it there. But zoomed in, it looks like Google doesn't tell us the Wi-Fi network that it's connecting to, only that it's connecting to a Wi-Fi network, that it's seeing one. But it appears to believe that it is one that is at that location.
Because it's the blue dot is directly on your little
Correct.
yellow house you got. All right. Court's indulgence. All right, thank you, Detective. I will pass the witness, Judge.
All right, we're going to take a brief recess before we do cross-examination of the detective. Ladies and gentlemen, during this recess, you must
Questions. When regarding to Devier's phone, you said the name came back as a Joseph Sams on that when the subpoena returned?
I can pull it back up if you like. The subscriber.
The subscriber information.
Let me pull that one back up. Correct. So for Devier is the phone number that I was provided of 707-628-1336 for Devier. The subscriber name is showing Joseph Sams.
And like you stated on previous, on direct, you're basically just given a file and you say, track these phones.
Correct.
And it's tracking the phones, not a person's movement.
Correct. Only the device itself.
So if a device is left at home, we're not going to catch that person because the device is at home.
Correct.
You said a couple times, I think a few times on direct, and I kind of just touched on it, that you don't like to know too much about the case or as little as possible.
Correct.
And basically you're given instructions by a detective superior to say, these are these numbers, I need to track them, trace them, and then you do that through your software.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you have any more involvement on this case in collecting evidence though?
Yes.
You canvassed around the area of Porcupine Rim, correct?
Correct.
You visited, I want to say it's about 17 locations.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Surveillance cameras.
Yeah, so I was tasked with trying to canvass for surveillance video for all the businesses on the nearby street corner.
So you're not like a guy in the chair in the back office. You're actually out doing the work, and you still go back and review it when it's given to you of what they want.
Well, now I am the chair in the back office. Back then, I was actually transitioning into the role that I'm in now.
So
So
you
I was
had-
still partially involved with the street side of it at that time.
So you actually had more information about this case than just, here's a file, track this phone.
Yes.
You knew a decent amount because you were out in the field, you were tracking down videos and evidence at this time of this incident.
Correct.
And you're given the phone numbers by the detective to track. You're not actually collecting all the devices. Let me clear that up. You're given a phone and they say track this through your software, correct?
Well, I was just provided the phone number and the records that they had already obtained.
And those are provided to you by the detective.
Yes.
And if
Oh,
there's
I'm not
other
speaking.
phones that are collected during the investigation, you would know about that. You're just given the phones by the detective.
Correct.
So if there's phones that were left out or other devices, you don't know about them. You just were given what the detective wanted.
Correct.
Yes.
Court's indulgence? No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. See,
No, thank you.
do the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have any questions for this witness?
They're
Okay,
like-
seeing no response, I'll excuse. Thank you very much for your testimony here today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But like, make
You
it
need to
stop.
unhook all of his stuff.
Yeah, I got to unpack a little bit.
Okay, would you go ahead and do that?
All right, thank you.
All right, let's see who's next. Oh. Too bald. The bald leading the bald. How will this go? The bald and the bold. Like looking in a mirror.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may have a seat.
Thank you.
Detective, if you please state your full name and then spell it for the record.
Full name is Carl Lippisch. First name is Karl. Last name is Lippisch.
Sir, how are you employed?
I work for the city of Henderson as a police officer.
And specifically, what's your position there?
I'm currently a detective with our Crimes Against Persons unit.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
I've been in this unit for just over 9 years.
I had a
What are
full
some
head
of your
hitter.
duties in your unit?
Our unit, Crimes Against Persons, responds to violent crimes, including like homicides, death investigations. We do any violent crimes such as shootings, stabbings. We respond to officer-involved shootings, as well as suspicious deaths, suicides,
All the bad shit.
robberies, and a lot of cases like that.
And so, when you're investigating those types of cases, what are some of your duties? Are you collecting evidence, something else?
Yes, depending on our role that we're assigned, depending on how many detectives are assisting with the investigation, you can either be the primary person with it, who's kind of overseeing everything. You can be doing interviews, collecting evidence, whether it be physical evidence on scene, tracking other evidence down, collecting video surveillance, writing search warrants, a wide range of job duties that are necessary for the investigation.
Okay. So then turning your attention to August 7th of 2023, were you assigned to assist in a murder investigation on that date?
Yes, I was.
And did you respond to the actual murder scene, which was at 2698 Paladura Drive?
Yes, I did.
Who was there when you arrived that day?
At that time when we arrived, as detectives, we're usually contacted after the fact, after the initial response. So when we arrive, our Henderson police officers have already arrived at the location, and typically they've kind of frozen location or kind of taken control of the area to make sure that it's preserved as best as possible.
And is that what was happening at that Paladura Drive when you showed up?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did you arrive in the morning hours of that day?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And who did you arrive with?
At that time, I don't remember exactly who in my squad was all on duty, but I believe Detective Ozawa and I were both working that morning. I know my sergeant, Sergeant Slattery, and then I believe the rest of our squad, as well as CSAs, were called to respond as well.
And can you walk the ladies and gentlemen of the jury through what you did at the scene when you arrived?
When we arrive on a scene, especially something of this magnitude, we will meet as a squad initially, and then we will get with whoever the on-scene ranking officer or like lieutenant or sergeant is for the patrol squad. They will typically have a brief that they can provide to us, give us as much detail or information as that they have, which would include involved parties, locations, if there's vehicles involved, any details that are pertinent that they've already learned once we arrive at the scene. And then
And thank you, Squad Bob, for the gifted membership. And that went to Dragon Lady 4 or Dragon Lady. There's a 4 in there. So congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. And Colleen Withershorse, this is just rewatching a trial. This is Devin Michaels. I know that it says Sarah Grace Patrick. However, we did find out this morning that that case has been adjourned until July. Sorry, my husband's drumming in the background. So we are waiting on that. I am going to be looking up to see if they have any reason that it was, that the trial was delayed. But as of now, and all the reporting that I've been looking through, we haven't been given a reason. So I will go back and edit. This is obviously not the Sarah Grace Patrick trial begins, but we will be going back. Now, this is the Devin Michaels case. It's a case out of Nevada. We're coming towards the end of it, but basically Devin Michaels was a former adult film star. She had been in a relationship with John Willett. They had 2 girls together, but they split up. Now, Devin decided to get with Deviere. Romance bloomed. And it wouldn't be so odd, except Deviere is the grown-up son of Jonathan, yes, her ex, from a previous relationship. And they got married. So Deviere and Devin got married. So he was essentially the stepfather of his half-siblings. But that's not the weirdest thing. Devin decided that when Jonathan was facing some problems with his mom, that Jonathan would move in with herself, Devier, and the girls to create one big happy Brady Bunch family. And it was all going to plan until the night before that he was supposed to move in. Well, wouldn't you know it, coincidence of coinky dinks, Devin was the last person to see him at his mom's house. And when his mom goes to check on him in the morning, well, he's a bit decapitated. Now, Devin has been the primary and really only suspect in this investigation. This was a bit of a confusing trial because Devin had a plea deal, and she decided to renounce that plea deal and go to trial. So this is interesting. We will, after we finish up this trial and get to the verdict, watch that hearing where she lost her mind and decided to go to trial, because that was pretty interesting. But basically, the state has dotted every I, crossed every T, and the defense is flailing around like one of those wibbly armed guys at a used car lot. I mean, they're doing what they can do, but there's basically all the evidence to show this woman is guilty.
After that has been conducted, we'll then get together as a squad and we'll determine our jobs and responsibilities. Once that's done, we could also end up doing like a walkthrough of the scene to then be able to kind of get a feel for what exactly we're looking at.
So talking about this specific scene on August 7th, 2023, you arrive, you get a briefing like how you just mentioned?
Correct.
Okay, so some initial details that the first responders provide to you, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then after getting that information, what did you physically do?
On this scene, because the family was there and the family was, obviously they were dealing with the trauma of it and they're very cooperative with us, we were granted consent to initially walk in and kind of understand what we were there for, what we were responding to. We were able to see the initial scene, see the inside of the residence, and see the deceased person lying in the bed, so that we were able to kind of understand what exactly our investigation was going to entail.
So essentially you do a walkthrough of the murder scene, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. After going ahead and doing that walkthrough, did you assist with the execution of a search warrant?
Yes, I did.
And that search warrant was granted for the residence from a judge, correct?
Yes, it was.
And did you also, were you involved in a search warrant for a truck that was located at that Paladura address?
Yes.
Now, talking about the scene itself, you mentioned that you did a walkthrough and then eventually assisted in the execution of the search warrant, correct?
Yes.
So talking about the scene itself, if you remember, there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, a living room, makeshift bedroom, sort of past the kitchen in the residence. Is that right?
And that is where John was sleeping. So one of the initial issues or questions I had about this case was, according to the anthropologist, both a hand-powered or just a regular knife was used, but also an electrical power saw of some sort was used in the decapitation. So I was wondering how someone could sleep through that, because there was essentially just like a blanket tacked up at the entryway of the living room. But we did get to see in this trial both Yoko and Yoshida, the two other adults that were in the house at that time. They are fairly old. I think Yoshida said that he was hard of hearing. So it does make a little more sense how they could possibly have slept through this. Because I did find it a bit odd that a power tool was used in a room with essentially no door and no kind of audio protection, and no one would notice.
Correct.
Okay. And was the body found in that room?
Yes, it was.
Where was the body?
The body was lying on the bed that was in that room, kind of lying across the bed.
Okay. Were there blankets?
Yes, there were.
You also noticed blood at the scene?
Yes.
Was there anything unique or interesting about the blood that you saw at the scene?
The blood at the scene was primarily limited to the space of the bed itself. The way that the body was positioned on the bed, the torso and the neck were up towards the edge of the bed, and then the severed head was not there, so the neck was exposed. And then the blood itself there was some that had like come down from the body directly straight down, but there wasn't, I should say, hardly any like blood spatter or anything like throughout the room that you may initially.
Now, this has also been another point of contention for the defense. Why isn't there cast off? Why isn't there blood splatter? Now, according to, findings of both the autopsy and the anthropologist, but more so from the medical examiner, there are ways that they can look to see if an injury was peri-mortem before death or ante-mortem after death. And according to, the wound pattern and some other things they can tell, he was decapitated after he was already deceased. So you don't have that heart pumping, you don't have that blood pressure. So it's, the kind of just dribble down or cascade down does make sense because you're not fighting against pressure. That's where you get the arterial spurts, is because your blood system is under pressure.
Think due to the fact that the head was missing.
And just to be clear, there was no blood spatter that you saw?
Correct.
Okay. Did you also find chemical bottles?
Yes.
And where were those found?
There was 2 bottles that were found in the hallway that would lead from this room that was kind of the makeshift bedroom, more like a living room style, but it had the bed in it. There was a hallway that led from that room to a bathroom, laundry room, as well as out to the garage. And those were found in that hallway.
And 2 bottles to be exact, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Cleaning agents?
Yes.
And you mentioned you've been with the unit, this specific unit, for 9 years. Was this your first and only decapitation investigation?
Yes.
So it's quite rare. I think you mentioned that previously, right?
Correct.
Ultimately, then, after you conduct this initial execution of the search warrant walkthrough, are you then assigned to canvass sort of the surrounding neighborhood of the residents for video surveillance?
Yes, I assisted with that.
And that essentially becomes your larger role in the investigation, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Then, after canvassing for video surveillance at that Paladura address and the neighboring community there, did you then assist with the execution of a search warrant at a 5510 Porcupine Rim?
Yes, I did.
And after assisting with that at the 5510 Porcupine Rim, you then begin to review all of the videos that were ultimately collected from the canvases, correct?
Yes, and the canvas took several days, just in terms of the amount of video that we were able to collect, as well as just the number of houses in both neighborhoods. All of that video was not obtained immediately. It took several days and going back out several times to do the best we could to get as much video as possible.
And I'm showing you what's been previously admitted as states 11A. You're under permission to publish.
Permission granted.
And this would be the neighborhood of Paladura, correct?
Yes.
And all of these little, I guess, yellow thumbtacks there, are those the residences that were canvassed and the area that was canvassed for video surveillance?
I believe so.
Do you have a reason to dispute that that's the area?
I don't, other than just the number of, or the specific addresses and stuff. I'm not sure what they are, but I believe that those, I know that we canvassed those entire area.
Okay.
So
so you had members of the team with you canvassing as well. It wasn't just you.
Correct.
Is that
No,
why
that would take
you're
forever.
hesitating a bit?
Yes.
Okay. But you as the collective went ahead and canvassed this entire area with these thumbtacks here.
That is correct.
Ooh, the royal we.
And then I also had mentioned permission to publish states 11.
Permission granted.
We have here another map showing the 5510 Porcupine Rim address. There was some canvassing, as we mentioned, in that location as well, correct?
That's correct.
So I want to start with the canvassing of the Paladura address, which was the neighborhood of the murder scene, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The actual neighborhood itself was searched, as well as nearby businesses, correct?
That's correct.
During your review of the surveillance footage that was obtained, were there certain videos that ultimately became important as part of the investigation?
Yes, there were.
And why did they why did they become important?
Because we were able to identify specific vehicles that were involved with our associated people to this.
And specifically then, the vehicle located at Paladura was a truck with a trailer attached, is that right?
Correct. It was the 2020 white Chevy truck.
Belonging to Jonathan Willett.
That's correct.
And then also a vehicle of interest was a 2017 Nissan Armada belonging to a Devin Michaels, correct?
That's correct.
And then at the Porcupine Rim address, there was also a white work van as well as a blue Honda vehicle that was in the driveway, both belonging to a Devier Willett.
Correct.
And so knowing those vehicles, that's why when you're reviewing the surveillance video, you have those vehicles in mind to see if there's anything of evidentiary value, correct?
That's correct.
So ultimately, you're able to collect from various addresses according to that map, but specifically, you obtained a video from 2696 Paladura Drive, correct?
Yes.
And that would be the house next door to the murder scene at 2698, correct?
That's correct.
Then also 2697 Paladura Drive,
Correct.
2701 Paladura Drive,
Yes.
a Chevron at a 201 North Pecos Road,
That's correct.
2699 Fampon Court.
Look, basically, you are always being watched. If it's not your phone, if it's not Google Maps, it is the Ring doorbell cameras that your neighbors have. So, yeah, essentially there is no such thing as an undetectable crime anymore.
Yes.
As well as 6621 Gray Juniper Road, which would be ultimately near the Porcupine Rim address, correct?
That's correct.
You also collected video from a 6505 Taylor Creek Avenue, which also would be near the Porcupine Rim address, correct?
That was correct. You did correct.
And Your Honor, at this time, I believe between the parties stipulating, the state would like to move for admission of the surveillance video marked Exhibits 620.
And if you guys are new to trials, because there is kind of their own little language, stipulating just means that both the defense and state agree that these facts are truthful, and then they don't have to be argued. So it's basically just something that both sides agree upon. It can be for evidence that has been authenticated, so we don't have to do the foundational questions or things like that. Now, I am not a lawyer, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, but I have been watching trials since Rittenhouse, and I take a lot of notes. Not that that indicates I'm smart, just means I like to write.
2 through 6:30.
We have no objection to their admission.
Survey 622 to 630 will be admitted.
So I want to start with the house next door to the murder scene. That would be at 2696 Paladura Drive. Is that right?
Yes.
And there was a video that you had determined had some evidence or some information that was helpful to the case, correct?
Yes.
Permission to publish?
Permission granted.
And technical difficulties. And continued technical difficulties. Y'all, I would be sweating like a not so
Are you able to
cultured
see
lady
that
in
on the
church.
monitor in front of you, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So I have published states 625, which is that 2696 Paladura Drive. Do these appear to be the files that were obtained from that address?
Yes, they are.
I am going to play the file XPTM5940. And I'm going to pause it here. Before I start playing this, I just want to talk a little bit about this video. So it looks like there is no date and time stamp on this video. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But you were ultimately the individual that collected this video, correct?
Yes.
And so when you collected the video from the homeowner or the individual that lived at the home, you were able to see on their phone what the date and time stamp was. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So even though we don't have the date and time stamp on here, we have your testimony of what you saw on their phone, correct?
Correct.
And in this video, in the top right-hand corner, do we see a vehicle there?
Yes, we do.
And what type of vehicle is that?
That's a Nissan Armada.
Playing?
Was she parked on their property?
I'm going to stop it at 35 or 36 seconds. What do we see there in the top right-hand corner, sort of past the Nissan Armada?
What you're seeing there is Jonathan's 2020 white Chevy 2500 truck. It's distinctive because of the two flags that are displayed in the back, and then he has the trailer connected to the back that he's towing as well.
Playing at 36 seconds.
Cul-de-sac, reverse.
And ultimately in this video, we see that vehicle doing essentially a U-turn and now going past that 2698 Paladura Drive address, correct?
That's correct.
And we're able to also determine what time this occurred based off of other surveillance video, correct?
That's correct.
Specifically from 2697 Paladura Drive. The corresponding time would be
Did you guys
8:18
catch
p.m.
Correct.
So
Phone, correct?
Correct.
they caught the jury. You can see the jury making notes. You'd think they'd have thought about that.
And in this
But
video,
especially
in the
when it goes
top,
dark. Trying to get to the dark part.
6 seconds.
Someone's
There's,
wearing flannel.
And then
Occurred based
Yeah.
off of, and we're
Right
able
there.
to also
You would think someone would have noticed that. I mean, because look, I would notice that. I did notice that. Also, what kind of little small half notebook are they giving the jurors to write notes on? Can I tell you, as a competitive note taker, if I was given just a little mini notepad, I'd be like, I'm bringing my own.
determine what time this occurred based off of other surveillance video, correct?
that's correct.
Specifically from 2697 Paladura Drive. The corresponding time would be 8:18 p.m.
Correct. 8:18, approximately 43 seconds. It passes the front of the house across the street.
And we will get to that in a second, just so I don't have to switch the discs out.
Okay.
There is another file of note, UNDM 8045. I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Ooh, we can hear the computer just starting up.
And stopping it there. Again, what do we see in the top right-hand corner?
We see the same Nissan Armada.
Playing. And ultimately in that video, what is of evidentiary note?
In that video that you're able to see outside of the screen, what apparently is probably a vehicle pulling up, because you're able to see the headlights of that vehicle that's comes to a stop and is illuminating the Nissan Armada based on where it's parked. And from viewing that, it appears that that vehicle would have parked directly in front of 2698 Paladera.
Because this camera is next door 2696, correct?
Correct.
Now UCUF 1169 publishing. What did we see in that video?
In that video, it appears to be the same headlights that are on, just because the shadows are the same as they were in the previous video that we just watched. And then you're able to see what appears to be two figures that are moving just based on the shadows. And then because there's audio with this, you're also able to hear that those people are talking.
Okay. I'm pissed off on the neighbor's behalf. It looks like she is parked to cover up a bit of their driveway. This would piss me off to no end. I mean,
Time on this.
Were you able to determine the time frame of this video?
The determination on this time frame was based off of another camera when the truck returned to the neighborhood. So this would be at approximately 22:12.
And that would be PM?
Correct.
Now, just to go to the next video where you found something interesting. ALN M6052 publishing.
really help if you had a current computer. It's ramming out.
And I want to pause it there at 7 seconds. What did we see in this video?
We saw the flash of the rear lights on the Nissan Armada, which is often consistent with someone unlocking a car.
Playing again. And what did we see there?
The driver's side door of the vehicle was opened.
Playing at 18. And there?
Another flash of the lights.
Did we also hear something?
And we did hear something.
What did
which
it
is
appear to be?
Possibly a locking or unlocking of the doors.
And what do we hear there?
But there we hear the engine of the vehicle starting.
Okay. And did it appear that someone entered the vehicle prior to the start?
Correct. It appeared that somebody entered into the driver's seat.
And what did we see there?
There we saw the vehicle, the Nissan Armada, slowly pull forward The brake lights seemed to be activated, which made it appear that the vehicle was just pulling forward and was going to stop just out of the view of the camera.
Okay. And what home was it going in front of?
By the direction that it was going, since it was pulling straight like that, it would be directly in front of 2698 Paladura, and it would be nose to nose with the 2020 Chevy truck that had already parked along the very front of the house.
And that was the home of the murder, correct?
That is correct.
And the time frame for that, through your investigation, you were able to look at different information, in this case, to determine time frames, correct?
Correct.
And we know that the Nissan had been activated prior to 11 p.m. Is that right?
The video we just watched.
Yes.
The timestamp on that one was actually 23:05:46 seconds, and that was from the home, the resident who actually had the video. That was from her cellular device. And
So
being
that
able
would
to see
be
the timestamp on it.
11:05 p.m. for us laymen?
Correct.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, she probably said, "Get the hell out of my driveway."
Okay. Now going to FE 4489FC file, publishing. Thank you. I'm gonna pause it there. What did we see there?
There we saw lights flashing from when you're looking at the screen from the right out of the screen, but it illuminated the screen, and they're consistent with what we had seen earlier with somebody activating the car, like unlocking or locking a car.
Playing.
What is all that noise?
And what did we see in that video?
In that video, you see, after hearing the engine start of a vehicle, you then see a vehicle back into view, and it appears to be the same Nissan Armada that we'd seen earlier.
Okay. And based on you looking at the resident's cellular phone, did that appear to have occurred at 2:04 in the morning?
Correct.
And just to orient us, publishing states 9. Are you able to use that mouse and hover over the address of that surveillance video we just watched?
Yes. So the pointer of the mouse is over 2696, which is where that surveillance was from.
Okay, so it would be right next door to the flag or the pin there, which would be the murder, the house of the murder, correct?
Correct.
Makes sense.
Now, the next address of importance was a 2697 Paladura Drive, correct?
Correct.
Using that same map, states 9 publishing, can you orient us where this address is with the mouse?
Yes. So
Don't click.
2697 is going to be across the street on the corner, right here at the corner of Paladura and Caroline Laurel Street.
Should we just ask the defense if there were any cameras this woman didn't drive in front of
Publishing
after decapitation?
states 626, excuse me. We see a video file there, correct, sir?
Yes.
And here we're focusing sort of at the top center of the screen, right?
That's correct.
Oh, I'm seeing her. Okay.
And ultimately, what we see in this video is a vehicle do a U-turn at the intersection of Paladura Drive and Carolina Laurel Street, correct?
That's correct.
And we have a date listed there as August 6, 2023.
Yes.
And what time?
0819, and it had gone up to 17, but it started at 081838.
Okay. Next, turning to 2701 Paladura Drive. Can you please orient us at States 9?
I believe it's going to be this house right here. So it's going to be, it's 2701 is going to be across the street and just like one house to the west. So not directly across the street from the residence, from our residence of where the homicide occurred.
Sort of catty corner.
Correct.
Publishing 2701. Specifically 627.
Uh-oh. She done broke the computer. She's handling it better than I would.
Now, was there something unique about this particular camera? Was it motion activated? Was it always on? Something else?
No, this camera was motion activated. It was motion activated by what appeared to be by the residents themselves moving around in their driveway or in front of their residence.
Have some long file names here, correct?
Yes.
So I'm not going to play every single video, but the members of the jury will have time to review those if they'd like to. But there were particular videos that showed interesting things. Is that right?
Yes.
And this is specifically the file 2AA341707, BE3055, BCD0241, C3B0F77BD0.
Oh,
Lots
hell
of
no.
letters and numbers, correct?
I'm not even
Yes.
trying.
All right, so in the top right-hand corner of this file, what do we see there?
Besides the timestamp, you're also able to see across the street to the residence 2698 Paladura, where the murder had occurred.
Okay. And what date do we see there?
It's 2023-0806, so August 6th,
And what time?
1826:58.
Around
And can you
6
do the math
p.m.
for me, what
So
time that
that'd
would
be
be?
6:26, almost 6:27 at night, or in the afternoon, evening.
It's minus
6:27 in the evening,
Correct.
playing?
It's not that hard.
And specifically with the 2698 address, what did we see the individual doing that was in the screen?
It appeared that there was a male that was loading items or arranging items in the trailer that was parked in the driveway.
Turning to the file ending in 105DD, starting with FC4.
I don't know about y'all, but at the end of all of these videos, I feel like the one guy on Mallrats who can't see the 3D picture, but then finally, like at a miracle happens at the end and he sees the sailboat. That's kind of how my brain feels. I will confess that this technical stuff and all of the explaining, the cell phone data drains me. I am not going to lie. So I do feel like whatever his name is that finally got to see the sailboat.
I'm gonna pause it there. Do we see a date and time stamp? And can you please read it?
Yes, we do. It's 2023-0806, and then the timestamp is 21/11/47, which would be 9/11/47 p.m.
And it-
Which exhibit? I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but which exhibit is this one?
This is the same exhibit, 627, file starts with FC4, ends with 105 DD.
105 DD?
Correct.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. And we're specifically looking of evidentiary value at the top right-hand corner, correct?
That's correct.
And why is that? That's the home of where the murder took place, correct?
It is the home of where the murder occurred. The garage door is closed, and the truck that had been backed up with the trailer in the driveway is no longer there.
Okay. Now turning to file starting with FDD, ending in 79B5. Pausing there. What do we see there as the date and time?
The date and time is going to be 2023-0807 for the date, and the time is going to be 080954. So 8:09 in the morning.
Thank you. That one's a little bit easier. What do we see in the top right-hand corner?
So we're able to see in the top right-hand corner is Jonathan's truck is now parked on the roadway in front of the residence with the trailer still attached, and it's parked facing essentially the opposite direction of traffic. You're also able to see that the garage door is partially open. But the significance that I saw from this video is the fact that the truck is parked consistent with what we had seen in the video from the residence directly next door, the 2696 house, where we had seen the headlights that had arrived during the night and then the two shadows. So that would kind of corroborate the fact that he had parked his truck in that manner that night when they had arrived. And that's how we also found it when we arrived.
So essentially the Nissan Armada and that truck would have been nose to nose at that previous video that we saw.
Correct.
During the night.
Correct.
And it's still in that same position in the morning.
Yes.
I mean, they did a lot of work on this to be able to prove all of these things, to look at all of the different surveillance. So why she didn't take the plea deal, I will never understand.
Okay. Did you also canvass for video at a Chevron?
Yes.
And you obtained video from that location at 201 North Pecos Road, is that right?
Yes.
Why was that important?
I was learned that they had stopped at that Chevron after, actually I should say, as they were returning from 5510 Porcupine Rim, they had stopped at that Chevron prior to getting back to the Paladera house.
Now pay attention to Devin's shoes.
Publishing 622.
Welcome, MLS. The state has been looking for these particular shoes, the shoes she was wearing that night, and never found them. But we did get a good look at them. They're black Nikes with a swoosh on them. I was paying attention to her trying to do some shore archaeology because it looked like she had had a little front squunch. So I wasn't paying attention to the shoes. Working with the powers of Windows 94.
There were two gas stations that we obtained surveillance video from, correct?
The gas station that I was aware of that we collect video was the 201 North Pecos Road, and that was the Chevron Terrible Hearse.
Publishing 623.
No, shuffle more papers. I like court ASMR. Really working on that RAM, making that processor sweat. computer's like, I'm full. I've given her all she's got.
Opening the file, camera 7.
Here goes nothing. What in the out of focus am I supposed to be seeing here?
And I'm just going to pause immediately. In the bottom left-hand corner, do we see a date and time there? And if we do, please read it into the record.
The date is 08/06/2023, and the time is 22:04:01, which would be 10:04 at night.
Playing.
We don't have cleaners for security cams, like a little wiper. This is riveting state.
And pausing it there at 22:04, what did we see come into the screen?
We see the white 2020 Chevy truck towing the trailer.
And that would be Jonathan Willette's truck and trailer, correct?
That's correct.
Playing. And do we see anything else of evidentiary value in
None.
this camera angle?
No.
Now you obtained another camera angle, correct?
Good
Correct.
point.
Publishing camera
So I was
9.
thinking rain isn't a big thing in Nevada.
Pausing there. Can you please read the date and time stamp into the record there?
Its date is 08/06/2023, and the time on it is 22:04:02, 10:04 at night.
And can you describe the angle of this camera?
This camera is looking what would be east, so it's looking into the parking lot area and the gas pump area of the Chevron Terrible's gas station. It's on the south side of the building.
Playing.
Tammy, this is actually still the old one. The Sarah Grace Patrick trial has been adjourned until July. So I will be going back and editing and changing the thumbnail on this since we didn't get that trial that I offered. So we'll finish up the Devin Michaels trial. And then tonight I'm going to be putting up a poll. There's a couple trials I didn't want to cover over the holidays that were pretty big. And then we always have the trial that started it all, the Letitia Stalk trial, that I have been wanting to go back and revisit to see how I feel about it now that I've been watching trials. So you guys can choose wherever we go. If there's a trial that you would like me to look at that's been done, or if there's an upcoming trial you'd like me to look at that's starting this week, let me know. Now, next week, we do have the probable cause hearings for both the mother and stepfather in the Park case. So that's out of Wisconsin. Let me get my notes. Yes, the Rebecca Park case on, takes me a minute to go from notebook to notebook. Oh, hurry up, you. But next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, but Tuesday for the parents, the mother and stepfather. Let's see here. Yeah. So we've got that coming up the week after that. Now, tomorrow, I do believe, is a delay, or not a delay, a deadline in the Rex Herman case as far as motions. There is a motions deadline tomorrow. Now, I don't know if we'll hear anything about that, but that's what I do have written down in my handy dandy. I am trying to be a little more organized calendar.
Pausing there at 22:04 and 41 seconds, what do we see there?
We see the white Chevy truck with the trailer belonging to Jonathan.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Belonging to Jonathan.
And it's sort of parked in between these two sets of palm trees.
Correct. It will stop and park right between those.
And the actual store belonging to the Chevron, would that be to the left of the screen?
Yes.
Playing.
Oh, I thought those were gas pumps. I'm an idiot. Oh, I guess they are trees. And I'm an idiot. Oh, and I need to show you guys. I'm a professional.
And we see someone getting out of the passenger side of the vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
As well as the driver's side.
Yes.
Passenger appears to be female.
Correct.
Driver appears to be male.
That's correct.
And now they are walking towards the actual Chevron store. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, they've already shown video from inside the store, so I don't know if we're going to get to see that again. We got better views on the Zapruder film.
And they are still appear to be out of frame, correct?
That's correct.
Ooh, lawyer whispering. I love it. Have a great dinner. We're actually going to be ending in about 15 minutes because Mr. Moe said you have until 2:30 when the wild ferals come home, and I will be on homework warden duty. I'm seeing movement in the fog, but
I'm going to scrub a bit into the video.
scrub, scrub, scrub. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Scrub the video. Scrub the video. Oh, this day is guaranteed to make my ADHD go crazy. I swear to goodness. It's been nothing but this. and cell
So
phone.
stopping it at 22:10, according to the timestamp on the video, we now see that female and male walking back towards Jonathan's vehicle, correct?
Yes, we do.
And that's about 5-ish minutes since they left to outside of the screen, correct?
Approximately, yes.
Male gets in driver's side,
Yes.
female gets in passenger side.
Correct.
Lights on the vehicle activated. Correct?
Yes.
You are welcome, Tammy. Mo, thanks for making this a safe place for us to come, not only to follow cases, but you too. Well, thanks. Yeah, I am just hanging out. I thought I had a plan for this week, but flexibility.
And at about 22:11:06, the vehicle with the trailer then pulls away. Is that right?
That's correct. It pulls
And it-
forward, and it's going to proceed over to Windmill Parkway. It's going to turn right, which would be westbound on Windmill Parkway, which is going back towards the Paladura neighborhood.
Okay. Enough of the ASMR. Paper flipping. Wonderful. Now, I've noticed this in the last couple times. When the evidence TV goes dark, you can see sort of the outline of the jury. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, but I certainly did.
Publishing.
Not that I'm trying to, but
628.
you would think someone would notice that. The power of Dell compels you.
I'm going to play file ending in 324.
Come on, you can do it. Come on, Pentium, 64 processor. You've got this. Apparently Nevada is still using dial-up.
Pausing the video. Can you please read the date and timestamp into the record at the beginning of the video?
Yes, date is 08/06/2023, and the timestamp is 20/13/21 or 8:13 at night.
And can you orient us on this video, which street is which?
Yes, so directly in front of this where the cul-de-sac ends, this is actually Fan Palm Court, and it's looking out at Charter Oak Street, which is a street that leads from in and out of the neighborhood, but from Paladura over to Windmill.
Playing.
Yes.
I'm gonna scrub.
Good dad watching the kiddos. I love that we've become our own big brothers, so we can now spy on ourselves and our neighbors.
I'm gonna pause there at 2019-45. What do we see?
Okay, did anyone else lose the kids? Because my heart's going a mile, like 90 miles a minute, because I cannot see where any of the children. I'm like, okay, those children are playing in the street. I'm going to be okay with this. They're not my kids. And now I'm like, oh, there's a big damn truck going by, and I can't see not one damn child. I mean, the dad's pretty relaxed about it. I'm sure everything's fine, but yeah, my heart was like, where are the children?
Towards the top of the screen.
Towards the top of the screen on Charter Oaks, you're able to see Jonathan's 2020 white Chevy truck towing the trailer, and they're proceeding southbound on Charter Oaks towards Windmill.
And that would be the exit or the entrance of the Paladura neighborhood.
Correct.
Publishing the next file ending in let's see here, 441. Beginning of the video, date and timestamp. Could you read that into the record, please?
Date 08/06/2023 with timestamp of 22/04/38, which is 10:04 at night.
And play the video starting at 22:11 and 16 seconds.
And you can see that this has to have been a pretty thorough investigation for them to have these time points to cooperate and to be able to go to the different areas and kind of triangulate and cooperate
Stopping at
these
22:12 and 7 seconds. What do we see there at the top of the screen?
We now see Jonathan's Chevy truck with the trailer. However, this time he's now driving northbound, and this coincides with coming from the Chevron, coming up Windmill, turning onto Charter Oaks, and this will be the direction going back to his house as he's going towards Paladura.
So he's now entering the neighborhood, correct?
Correct.
Publishing file ending in 128.
Now we're going to see Devin leaving at 2.
Can you please read that date and timestamp into the record?
Yes, date's gonna be 08/07/2023, and the timestamp is 02/01/26, so 2:01 in the morning.
So several hours later, but same camera view, correct?
That's correct.
Now into the early morning hours of August 7th on approximately 2:01 in the morning.
Correct.
Let's scrub forward. Love a good scrub.
Playing at 2:04, 3 seconds.
Not a lot of mosquitoes in front of the, well, I say that. There's a bunch of gnats.
Stopping there at 2:04 and 36 seconds. What did we see there?
You see a vehicle that's on Charter Oaks, appears to be the Nissan Armada, and it's traveling southbound, which will be coming from the Paladura street and address and going towards Windmill.
Towards the exit of the community, correct?
Correct.
Did you say correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And this level of detail, this kind of investigation, really makes it hard for the defense to come back and say, no, I swear it was Deviere. He was able to get across town without anyone seeing him. He was able to go into the house without running into anyone, decapitating his father and getting back across town without being caught on a single CCTV camera. The defense's case was already kind of tenuous to begin with, but with the level of investigation that they did into this case, It's really hard for the defense to say, oh, well, they didn't investigate it enough. They missed Deviere.
Now at 217 Charter Oaks, ultimately we see an activation as well, correct?
That's correct.
And what does that activation show us at 2:04 in the morning?
It shows a vehicle that's passing by, turning from Paladura onto Charter Oaks. The house right here is able to, it gets an activation, and it appears to be the Nissan Armada as it's leaving Paladura and turning onto Charter Oaks.
And did you also canvass for video at 2699 Basalm Pear Court?
Yes.
Okay, can you orient us where that is?
Yes. So Basalm Pear Court is the street to the north of Paladura. Here's Paladura.
Do they mean balsam? Balsam? It's balsam. I mean, maybe that's just the Midwest way to say it. I don't know.
And it's the street right here that also ends in a cul-de-sac at the end. 2699 was actually directly behind the house where the murder occurred.
And were you able to locate any surveillance video from that?
Yes, the resident there was able to provide activations from their surveillance system.
What was that, sir?
Yes, the resident there was able to provide activations from their surveillance system that they had.
Anything of evidentiary note?
Evidentiary note, no. There was activity, some of the residents coming and going, walking their dog, and a little bit of activity on the street, but nothing that was suspicious in nature.
And then how about 2706 Basalm Pear, that same street?
Yes. And
Can you orient us, please?
Yes, that would actually be up here at the very end of the cul-de-sac. So they border, their sidewall actually bordered with Charter Oaks.
Anything of evidentiary value from that?
No, only thing that they did provide video. The only thing that we did see on that was actually the residents themselves just at their home.
So same as the other there?
Correct.
Nothing suspicious, no one jumping walls, anything of that nature?
That is correct.
And that's why they're asking that
No
question.
odd vehicles coming through?
No.
Now, did you also canvass the African Violet Street?
Yes, it was canvassed.
Can you please orient us on that?
Okay, so African Violet is going to be the roadway up here. Has a cul-de-sac down at the east end of it, and then when you come up to the west, it actually comes up to Charter Oak Street.
Anything of evidentiary value from that?
No, there was not. Video was provided, but there was nothing suspicious, just homeowners and the vehicles that belong there.
No, we can do it later. Now, nothing suspicious in that surveillance either, correct?
That's correct.
And you knew the important vehicles of this case, the Nissan Armada, the Honda, as well as the work van, and then Jonathan's truck, right?
That's correct. But also, in addition, while viewing all this video surveillance, when I say nothing suspicious was observed, looking for anybody that might possibly been, essentially sneaking in the neighborhood or looking like they're not sure if they're supposed to be there, as well as vehicles that are driving erratically that may, like trying to be fleeing a scene or, not familiar with the neighborhood that they're in.
And so after reviewing these videos related to the home murder scene itself, you're able to eliminate anyone from jumping the wall or anything of that nature in the videos, correct?
That's correct.
Now I want to flip back.
Well, you guys, we have just an appendix worth to catch up on tomorrow, and then we will be on day 5. So I do have to end for today because Mr. Mo has graciously let me stream all day long while the kids are at school. But once they are off, I do need to restart my job as homework warden. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll have basically the same schedule. We should be getting back mornings with Mo at 8. Then hopefully Law and Crime TV or Court TV might have more information about what delayed the Sarah Grace Patrick trial, so I can give you more information on that. And then tonight, be on the lookout because I will be putting out a poll. If there is a trial or a, something or other you guys would like me to look at, feel free to put it in the comments. I will be putting that poll up, so we will have somewhere to go after we are done with Devin Michaels and her weird hearing. So I would say we'll probably be doing that until Wednesday, and then we will start either a retro trial watch or whatever new trial is coming up. So that's kind of what we're planning to do on this week. Get back used to, the daily grind, being back at life after the holidays. I am sending you guys over to Flux. Give her some love. She is, I think, doing Minecrafty stuff or computer gamey stuff. She's much better at that than I am. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thank you guys all for sharing your time with me. I appreciate it so much. Do all of the YouTube-y things. And remember, when life goes off the rails, the Petty Express, we're there to watch the trials, make fun of the douchebags, and honor the victims. Bye, you guys.